game of basketball has taken us places we can never imagine. For winning 4 EuroLeague titles,
playing 6 years in 5 countries,
and making connections with people from all around the world.
we have stories that can last a lifetime. Now it's time to tell yours.
When I met Michael Jordan for the first time, and still to this day, if I see him, he's glowing.
It just came down to, like I said, looking myself in the mirror like, brother, do you want to play ball or not?
I've never been in an environment like EuroLeague.
Because, living over here in Europe, bro, Kyle, we kings over this jump, bro.
Right.
Denver Nuggets.
Appreciate y'all having us on here, man.
Yes, sir, man. Big time. This is really dope.
This is Hooptails.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Hooptails. Today, I got my main guy, one of my, somebody I battled with, many times throughout this, whole EuroLeague journey. He's definitely one of the most athletic, dynamic, guys in EuroLeague history. A legend over there, in my opinion. My guy, James Gifts. James, what's up, man?
What's going on, Kyle, man? Appreciate you having me on the podcast and everything.
Appreciate it, man.
Man, it's really big on what you're doing.
Appreciate it, bro.
Thanks for having me.
First off, man, we got to talk about, the whole COVID-19 situation. So, kind of talk about, how you and your family doing right now, and kind of what you kind of been going through the last month or so, and then walk us through kind of like the situation in Belgrade and Serbia, kind of like, your decision to come back.
Yeah, when the whole COVID-19 thing broke out, I think it started out, big in China, as everybody knows, and then it started, within the basketball community, I think, touching down in Italy really heavy. And, everybody, for us, at least, wasn't being affected by it. I'm not sure how Russia, Belgrade, it wasn't there yet.
Same.
Spain, there was a few cases, but, a lot of the other countries weren't really having experiences that Italy was having. So, we were kind of just playing it cool, waiting to see what was going to happen, kind of like everybody else, waiting. And then I think we were going to play Madrid. One of the players from Madrid came down with it. And that morning, they released it, saying that, once somebody from Madrid, got tested positive, so they canceled the game. We flew back to Belgrade that evening. And then once that happened, it's like, all right, so now we know we don't have a EuroLeague game right now. We're not sure about, Adriatic League at the time. And so I'm sitting there talking to my wife, and the fam, like, basically, we need to wait and see a couple of days, at least see what's happening.
Yeah.
There, we need to make sure that we're okay. As players, we just came from Spain, we need to make sure that we're okay. So we'll see what the team says. And they were trying to practice, when we got back, because nobody knew exactly what the time frame was going to be on when game start again, which is understandable. Nobody knew nothing.
Yeah.
Us, we just kind of had to play the waiting game. And when I seen that, leagues were considering stopping and the suspension was going to go more than a month, and that we weren't sure when we were going to practice, and that countries were starting to close borders, my wife and I, I made the decision, especially talking to my family back in the States, what was going on. Because I have got people that are within the government as well. And they were saying that, things are going to start getting a little tight right now, so you should probably make a move if you can. And so now it's the situation, I got the family, got my kids, we're not playing basketball. When I travel to Europe, I'm not going over there to live, per se. I'm over there to hoop.
Yeah.
We're not hooping. And the time, payments have stopped now because, of everything going on, which is also understandable. But, what are we doing over here? If we just sitting here and then we got to be on lockdown.
Facts.
In the house the whole time in another country, I feel like I got more resources here in the States than I do in Serbia. I got some people that I know, but I don't speak the language. If anything would actually go down and we had to be in this situation, I would rather be in the comfort of my home in America. So that was kind of the decision that me and my family made to come back here. We stayed low. It's been a month or so. I've only seen my parents once, maybe twice, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, we've been here at the house, staying out the way. My daughter, she has online school, so helping her with that. My son, he running around crazy, 2-year-old. I look at her, not stopping. So, we're just trying to manage time, here at the house.
That's what's up, man. So, what is your forecast about, our season and just basketball in general? Do you see, basketball coming back at all, especially EuroLeague?
I personally believe that it will come back, more so from the business standpoint.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, with the losses and everybody's taking, from the business side, you see the economic value of a cancellation of a season is huge. So I think that they're going to try to force it to push, to have some type of conclusion of the season. I don't think it's going to end like but I feel like it should. I feel like it should be over. I feel like, at the end of the day, what can we do? We can't really do much. We can't guarantee that coming back as soon as it's done. The whole world is shut down for like a month. I feel like you can't just come back a month later and be like, okay, we're ready to go. Some of the gymnasiums, they were using, as extra space for medical, to take care of people.
Right. The one of y'all play in Belgrade that was using, I think.
Yeah, exactly. We're using both of those too. So in other cities as well, other countries as well. So how can you guarantee that, these facilities are gonna be safe? How they're gonna be clean quick enough? Granted, we're probably not gonna have games with fans at the end of the day, but still, it's just the safety of the players. You can't guarantee anything. Everything is just it's the first time it happens, so you don't know how much time you really need to take to make sure that nothing else comes up or nothing else happens. So I think that it shouldn't go on, but I think that it will.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump into your childhood, man. You didn't have a traditional childhood. Grew up in the Air Force home. So talk about what that was like, growing up overseas and just, coming up different than the average person.
For me, I think that kind of helped me out in general, prepare me for the life that I'm playing as a professional basketball player overseas, to be honest. Just foreshadow, looking back, hindsight's 2020. But yeah, growing up in a military family, like, my older sister was born in California. I was born in Turkey. I don't remember much of it, because I was a baby when we left. But I think I spent a year there maybe. My little sister was born in Nebraska. So we moved to Nebraska after that. After Nebraska, we spent 3 years there. Moved to Germany. I lived in Germany for 4 years. When I came back, I moved back to D.C. I was like 7, 8 years old. I live here ever since. And so, yeah, traveling around, I went 1st and 4th grade in Germany, like on a military air base. It's like being in America because you're on American soil. It's not like you're just in Germany. You could leave a base and you get to see Germany for what it is. But other than that, you experience life as if you're in America on those type of bases. So I went to school there. It was cool. Played soccer first. Then I got into basketball. Did baseball for a little bit. I was really good at baseball. Turned that down. After I seen somebody get hit by a pitch, I was
it was over.
I said, and I played first base and I played pitcher as well too. So it was just like, that was just my thing. But once I seen that, I said, nope. I went right back to basketball, and I just stuck it out like that.
Love. You gotta talk about DMV, man. I know DMV is huge for you. The whole Maryland, DC, Virginia area. I know that's you and your go-go music. I know you on that.
I rock that everywhere I go. Y'all see it on media. Everybody that know me know.
I'm still trying to figure out this bumbo sauce, man. I'm still trying.
Hey, look, when we meet up, we get the white people, we get the family together.
Yeah.
Something together, and we're gonna bring it. We got the sauce in the house.
Yeah.
We're definitely.
Let's talk about growing up in the DMV and the legendary hoops out there and all that. So talk about that.
Yeah, when I think about it now, it's crazy, because coming up, 7, 8 years old, you're looking at all the guys that have stayed on that path the same way as me, to play professionally up until this point. Guys that have stayed and guys that have fell off and was, highly touted, highly ranked. Like the DMV was always really competitive, especially the AAU circuit.
Yeah.
You had middle school, you had the high schools, you had those, the city titles and those things were lit. But the AAU circuits back then was everything. You had the teams in the DMV area that was always competing, but the top ones was always DC Blue Devils, or at the time it was Potomac Valley Blue Devils. But you had the Blue Devils, and then you had DC Assault, which I think is now a team takeover or something like that. I'm not sure. But, the competition was so high coming up at that age group, man, going from 8 and under to 10 and under to 12 and under. I remember going to 12 and under nationals. I think we finished like 8th in the nation. It was crazy that year. and we was in Orlando. So I mean, you know, the trips every other weekend, every other month when that circuit started up was crazy, you know. And it was always, you know, basketball was always a big thing in the DMV area, you know, growing up until now.
Who's
or influence?
Who was my number one influence as a basketball player?
Yeah, like
Honestly, I never really had one person that I say, you know, he's the main influence of me. I'll say that what like started me getting into like playing basketball or even trying it out was I was living in Germany, and me and my dad we was watching I don't know, Eastern Conference Finals or something, but Orlando when Shaq and Penny was there was playing Chicago, and Orlando had won. I mean, the game was crazy. They were going back and forth, back. And at the end of that game, my dad had asked me if I wanted to play basketball. Like, you want to try it out? Play? And I was like, yeah, you know, whatever. I'll try it. I was a kid. I was down for whatever, you know. So tried it out, and it just happened to be something that ended up sticking with me for the rest of my life.
Who's your favorite DC hooper of all time?
Favorite DC hooper? Somebody that I never actually got to play. I mean, see play, but who I kind of idolize is Len Bias.
Yeah.
You know, he was a huge player that came out of Maryland University, went top in the draft. You know, for those who don't know, he died of an overdose, you know, a couple nights after the draft. So, I mean, that was crazy news. And they were saying, you know, maybe there might not be a Michael Jordan if Len Bias was, you know, here. They were saying he was better, you know, more athletic, he was bigger, he was a better shooter, you know, all kind of stuff like that. So I watched a lot of documentaries, a lot of video on him as a player coming out of this area, per se. But, you know, for, I guess to say, right now, for players that have made it out and are still, you know, doing something with it, so I'll probably say right now it'd be KD.
Yeah.
You know, KD really doing his thing. He can put the city on his back, man, and he really, you know, representing well. You know, we got a lot of players that come from this area, don't get me wrong, including Baltimore. I know a lot of people don't include Baltimore in the DMV, but Baltimore's still part of Maryland. Like, you got players that come from this whole area, Maryland, DC, Virginia, that really represent well.
Yeah, crazy thing about you talk about Len Bias, my you know, one of my mentors is somebody that when I was in college, Keith Gatlin, who you know went to University of Maryland. He was, you know, he was super tight with Len Bias, and I was like, you know, his main guy. So he would tell me stories about Len Bias all the time. It was like, you know what I mean, like the things he would tell me about him, like that he like literally became like one of my favorite players. Like like you said, I've never seen him play, but just like the influence and everything like he had, and just like keep talking about him. I was like, yo, he was cold, man. He was cold.
You see the highlights, and it's like, dang, like, I wish, imagine if the NBA he had been in the league to be able to just see what he had. Because he did it at the collegiate level. I mean, he was killing.
Yeah.
You know, Billy was watching what they were, especially guys like us who are athletic, who like to dunk, who like to put on a show. Yeah. You look at that and like, dang, he was on a whole nother level with it.
Facts, like when he went to that team in Boston, like he would have came right around the time, like right around that era where that'd have been like ridiculous, like him and Bird, like.
I'm telling you, the game might have changed. It might be a different game. It might not be a Jordan. I'm rocking Jordan right now. It might not be. It might be.
Aaron Letty, man.
A lot of people don't know about that. A lot of people don't know about that. But it's good. Len Bias is probably somebody in this area that I wish I would have got a chance to see, man. I wish I would have got a chance to see him play. You know, he was just watching the highlights, so he was amazing.
All right, so we got to talk about your high school days now. You ended up going to Our Lady, which was an all-boys school. And just talk about the competition within the league, you know.
It was co-ed. I didn't mean to cut you off. It was co-ed.
Oh, it was co-ed? Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
like, being young and naive, that was one of the things that kept me from going to, like, Gonzaga and DeMatha, was because, you know, those are all-boys schools. And I was just like, man, I don't know. Like, I can't do the all-boy thing.
It's the same when I was younger.
The all-boys schools be the ones that get the best, you know, the ones with the all-girl schools, like it goes down to the dances and things like that. And so I told the council, and I mean, the crazy thing was I went to a D.C. public school. I grew up in D.C., you know, and good council, if y'all knew how Maryland laid out, is about a good 45-minute ride from where I was living, you know, by car. So I was taking 2 trains. I was going Metro when I was in high school from freshman year to senior year. I was taking the Metro, you know, 2 trains, 2 buses, damn near a 2-hour commute every day. to that school to get up there. They recruited me. You know, I was coming from DC Post School. It was a whole different lifestyle too.
I can
coming
imagine.
from DC, where school isn't really like the biggest thing. You know, I went to middle school. We went through 8 Spanish teachers one year. It was like high school, high from middle school. Multiple teachers. So I mean, we just show up to school and get a C. You feel me? It was like that. But then having to go to a school like Good Counsel, which is a private school, one of the best schools in the country at the time, you know, and still to this day, you know, has a high graduation rate. You know, they send a lot of kids to the Ivy League schools. You know, I mean, the list goes on for their resume and how good of a school it is. And I was able to go there under recruitment, which was, you know, beneficial for me. At the time, there was a guy named Amari Israel who was playing there, and at the time, he was ranked ahead of LeBron, I think, going into sophomore season. So it was there. I shadowed him, and I was like, man, this is
it's lit.
You know, I get to see them playing. At the time, the WCAC was so lit with DeMatha, Gonzaga, you know, Paul VI. Those teams, they had so many guys who were going to all the top D1 schools and guys that was even going straight to the league from, you know, high school at the time. So, I mean, high school during that time was really competitive, you know, in the area again. You know, that WCAC schedule was one of the top schedules in the country at that time. I want to say top 5.
Yeah, definitely. That's something I was going to ask you about. Like,
who was some of the hoopers in that league that you came up with?
Yeah, McDonald's All-Americans, everything. Guys that played the Jordan Capital Classics. You know, those were the games everybody wanted to play coming out of high school before you went to college or you made your trip to the league. We had a lot of guys coming out here that were doing that.
You have any memorable games, like a game
from high school?
Yeah, from high school.
The one game that I found out that Maryland was actually coming to recruit me, you know, like when I went to high school, I was so oblivious to like how things work. You know, I didn't know how to get to college or how to get to the league. You know, I like the NBA. I watched it. I was like, dang, I want to go there one day. But knowing all the stuff now, I didn't know none of that stuff. I liked basketball because it was fun for me. It kept me out of trouble. That was the main reason I played basketball. And I just so happened to be good at it, or I got better at it as time went on. But I never did it in my mind thinking like, this is my goal, this is where I'm going to get, this is where I'm going to go. You know, I want to get there, this is how I'm going to do it. I had no plan on that. You know, my parents weren't aware of that. They just wanted me to get a great education. They said, shit, if you use basketball, get there, we don't got to pay for it. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, you know, that was kind of my thing. So with the high school thing, I don't know. It was different for me. It was different. It was real different trying to figure out, you know, how I was going to try to get to where I ended up coming to Maryland and stuff like that.
So basically, like you kind of already, you know, answered the question, but like, you know, what made you decide to go to University of Maryland, and what other schools were recruiting at the time?
I wanted to go to University of Kentucky. That was like
my
dream school to go to.
Yeah.
There at the time, and during this time, this is around the time that 9/11 had happened, and my dad was in the military.
Okay.
And after 9/11 happened, you know, planes hit the Pentagon, they hit the Twin Towers and everything. After that happened, my dad, you know, he was so deep into the stuff, he had to leave for 24 hours, went to the Pentagon, tried to figure out what was going on and everything, and then the next day comes back like, I got to go to Korea for a year. This is my whole junior year. My whole year that I'm like, you know, choosing a process to what college I'm going to go to, all the college want to recruit me. So now I'm just stuck with my mom and my uncle. We have no idea how the process goes. Nothing. So we just hear like, all right, we was going to go in. You know, everybody making it fit. You know, I'm getting letters. I'm like, letters coming left and right. I never had nothing like this happen before. I didn't know what to expect. Letters coming left and right. My first letter was like from Notre Dame. Mike Bray was the coach, and he signed it, written, everything. So I was hyped to see all this stuff. And so going through the process, you know, we had Gary Williams come in, coach from Kentucky, Tubby Smith came in, Buzz Peterson from Tennessee came in, you know, coaches from all over were coming in at the time to talk to me. And so one of the most memorable games was when I found out, taking it back to that question, was when I found out Maryland was recruiting me. We were playing Gonzaga, and they were actually there to see another player from my team. Mm-hmm. And they, you know, come to find out Jimmy Passos and Gary Williams were in the crowd. I didn't know. And they were there. And
wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah, they weren't thinking about it. I was going in my sophomore year, I think, and they was like, you know, we want to watch this kid. So for my sophomore year, they were watching. I had no idea. That was one of the most memorable games coming in from high school. But yeah, the choosing process, I want to go to Kentucky. And it came out of my final 5 was Kentucky, Maryland, UVA, Providence, and Georgetown. Mm-hmm. And Kentucky came. They said, we got one scholarship that we want to offer, but we want to try to give it to Dwight Howard. And I was like, man, Dwight Howard going to, the league.
Right.
I think my high school class was crazy that year. I feel like 16 players might have went to the league that year trying to get the so they were like, we're going to try to offer Dwight Howard. If he doesn't take it, then we're going to offer you. And I was just like, man, if y'all don't want to offer me the first one, then I feel like y'all don't really want me.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I felt. And again, my dad wasn't here with me in the process, me, my mom, my uncle. We just like, we just looking at it from a personal standpoint, but at the same time, I got a chance to go to school for free. Y'all are offering me to come there. Like, I just feel like if the scholarship is there, y'all really want me, I'm going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, Maryland ended up coming off the national championship. And they back-to-back runs to the Final Four. It was a hometown team. They showed a high interest. It was supposed to be me and Rudy Gay coming in as a freshman. So I figured we would have a big class. And last minute, Rudy Gay ended up going to UConn. But it was, I don't see why not. It was ideal. Homeschool, big school, education was good. Basketball was good. It was like, why leave? I can stay in the area and come here.
That makes sense.
What was it like playing for Coach Gary Williams? How was your relationship?
We ended up having a really good relationship. Gary is a real good, genuine person. Really good, genuine person, humble, and somebody who really loves the game of basketball. He really taught me how to love the game of basketball. I liked it just from a standpoint of it was fun. I enjoyed playing it, but I never understood the game of basketball. Gary taught me to be a student of the game. Taught me to watch video. Taught me, everything. If you really want to be a great basketball player, this is how you have to be. He was a really intense coach. I mean, he was in that area like the 5 nights, them type guys, who was like, really at times verbally abusive.
Mm-hmm. Never
really got physical with players, but I mean, he'll let you know up and down how he really feels. All kind of words. He put words together I never heard about. He was from Jersey. Gary was from Jersey, so he could cuss like a sailor.
Yeah.
It was bad, but he brought it out of you. He brought the best out of you as a player. That's where I get my intensity from, playing the games. And, that's why I'm so high energy and wasn't depressed. Always screaming at the dunks and blocks and big plays and something like that, because I got that just from the intensity that he instilled in me in college for 4 years. We were the top defensive team in college. I want to say top 5 almost every year up until my junior year.
Mm-hmm.
We pressed. We played the passing lanes. We was doing all that. We were just hyped to play basketball. And it was just, we took after his personality.
Most definitely. You got to talk about that ACC competition, man. There was no days off for y'all. Duke, North Carolina, you got UVA, you got everybody, man. So
yeah.
V-Tech, Wake.
Yeah, everybody. There was no days off.
ACC was definitely crazy. And like I said, remember, when I got into the whole high school basketball thing, I didn't realize that I was good enough to get recruited to play basketball. It's more so at a high level at that. It was just like he threw me out there and I just fit in. I was playing. So, after playing WCAC against a lot of guys that ended up going to high-level colleges or even NBA, then going into Maryland and now I'm playing the ACC. And I remember my first time that I was kind of starstruck. We played North Carolina, and that year was the year that they went undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
And they ran the whole table on everybody. It was crazy. And I think the lineup was like Sean May, Rashad McCants, Raymond Felton, who else? Jawad Williams. Marvin Williams was coming off the bench. He was 6 man coming off the bench. They had Jackie Manuel. They had a squad. Squad was OD. And I remember Coach called me in. I was like, it was before the first TV timeout. Coach was like, get in. And I walk on the court and I see like who I'm checking. I'm like looking, and then Sean May. I'm like, damn. And I'm a freshman.
Yeah.
209, you feel me? I'm lightweight, jersey hanging off me like this. I'm frail out there. You talking about Sean May, this dude going to the league next year, whatever. So I'm like kind of starstruck, but I've been going up and down a couple of times. I think the first time he cut the ball, I think I got a stop, but he kicked it out. He didn't try to attack me or whatever. And then next couple of times down, I think I got a crazy putback like on like 2 people. And it was like once that happened, and we were playing in Carolina, so it was like once that happened, I was just kind of like, all right, I'm here. Like I can play with these guys. Like I'm here, and the starstruck thing was over. But the competition, I mean, like you said, no rest. I had one night you got Carolina with Sean May and that squad. Then you got Duke with J.J. Redick and Sheldon Williams. Then you got Florida State with Al Thornton, and they had Isaiah Swan, and that lineup with the 3 guards was crazy. I think Miami had just came into the ACC with Guillermo Diaz and Robert Height. And there was another dude that played with the Heat. They had a guard front. You know, Boston College had Craig Smith, Jared Dudley. You know, it was night in, night out. UVA had Sean Singletary, J.R. Reynolds.
Even B Tech was good that during that time, man.
B Tech was nice. B Tech was real nice. I mean, like, come on, some matchups was just like them nights. And Maryland had the crowd. Like, that was one thing I loved was Maryland. You know, 18,000 was in there every night.
Yeah.
We played, and our fans held us down. We had some great runs in Maryland. Man. We had some great runs. That ACC was lit. You know, competitions, road games. You know, coming back to the home games. You know, it was lit. Them was probably the best 4 years of my life for sure.
You talk about like we kind of like your ACC moment, but talk about when you realized that you can possibly make money from this game. Did you have a moment? Did you have a game where did somebody come up and tell you, was like, listen, man, I think you got potential?
I think it was after my sophomore year. We went to Maui for the Maui Invitational, and you know that was like my breakout year for Maryland. Because my freshman year I came in, I ended up like I said, I was supposed to come in with Rudy Gay, so we were the two top players coming out of the Maryland area. So it was a big thing. But then last minute, Rudy ended up going to UConn, so I ended up coming to Maryland by myself. I was the only freshman. And so coming in there, you know, the year before they won the ACC tournament, they had John Gilchrist, DJ Stradbrook, Mike Jones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had, Kenneth Beckway. They had a huge, lineup. A lot of other guys too. Huge junior class, and a few seniors that had been there since the championship run. So I'm the only freshman coming in with no minutes. No, I haven't proved myself. I wasn't a McDonald's All-American for some other reasons, but it wasn't that I couldn't play at that level.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I came in there with no, guarantee that I was going to be able to achieve anything. And so after my freshman season, I think I averaged 20 minutes a game. I think I managed to start like 3 or 4 games my freshman year. So I established myself my freshman year as a player that could help the team win. Sophomore year coming back in, we go to Maui Invitational. I think it was Arizona, Arkansas, UConn, Kansas, Michigan State. Like it was a lit tournament, and they had all kind of NBA scouts there. Preseason tournament, that joint is popping. And so I ended up having a breakout tournament that year, and that's when I started getting a lot of buzz about, you possibly go to the NBA and all this and everything. And after that season, I feel like a lot of guys made their push to go to the NBA. Chris McCray, Travis Garrison, Nick Cannon-Medley, like those guys did. Williams had pulled me to the side of the season. Was like, yo, James, you just try to come back next year. Next year you'll be a junior. It's gonna be a really big year for you. I think we'll have a great time, and it'll be good for you. I don't think you should try to go to the NBA draft. And I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, I'm sitting here, I'm not unpacking my dorm room. Like, right now, I'm thinking the league is terrible. If I think back on it now, maybe I should have tried. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Today, that just wasn't my mindset. Again, I wasn't there. I didn't know how you got there, what the ways were to do it. It was just like, okay, I'm in the moment right now. Maryland was what it was. It was one of the top schools in the ACC, one of the top schools in the country. I was enjoying the moment. Yeah. I was enjoying the moment.
Let's talk about, the 2008 draft and that process. You finished your successful career in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
How was the whole process for you? Like, who did you work out with, and did you get drafted?
Starting out that process, it was like, first you got to try to pick an agent. At the time, dealing with the NCAA regulations, you couldn't really deal with agents during the year. So you had to wait for the season to be done. So once the season was officially done, that's when I started doing, like, actual interviews with agents. And I had a few, the top agents. I think one was Arm Tellum at the time, another one was Octagon. One was BDA, who I ended up signing with, Bill Duffy. And there was another one out of LA, I can't remember. He had Kevin Love and all those guys at the time. But the problem was that I had maybe like 4 or 5 credits to finish up at Maryland in the spring semester. And so it was like, go ahead and knock these classes out. I think I was taking bowling and something else. So for me to go, they wanted me to go high in the draft, or at least like guaranteed first round. They was like sign with a couple of these agencies, and I would have to go to LA. They would like go to LA, work out up until the draft. So from March when we finished playing, or whatever, up until the draft, you're gonna work out in LA. And it was like, nah, I can't do that because I need to finish so I can graduate.
Yeah.
I ended up picking BDA, Bill Duffy agency, because they were able to find me somebody I could work out with in DC. Meanwhile, finish my credits up so I could walk across that stage, and that was more important for me than anything. especially for my family at the time. And that's when I ran into Kyle. I think we ended up working our way down Ravine up at Georgetown.
Yeah, I still had nightmares about overtime workouts, bro.
East workout shows.
Bro.
You, Joey Dorsey.
Joey.
Jonas was in there a couple of times. Repco won this. Like, we got after it. And I mean, they brought in guys, you know, that were going to be trying to compete in the draft, whether that year or the following year, too. So, I mean, and the conditioning for that jump was OD.
Bro.
So it was on a whole nother level. Like, I thought we worked hard in college.
Yeah, yo, I was the same way, like, cause I was similar to you. Like, I signed with my agent because they wanted me to go elsewhere, and I was like, nah, I gotta stay in Greensboro. I was like, there's no way I could tell my moms that like I'm not gonna graduate. So I stayed in Greensboro, worked out. But as soon as my graduation, that's when I came to DC with y'all.
Yeah.
And I remember that first day, and Joey was like, yo, you ready for this? I was like, yeah, I'm straight, bro. I was like, I've been working. Yo, bro, I still remember that first George, the first sprint conditioning Joe we did.
That's warm-up.
Yeah. Yo, every time, I literally, to this day, every time I do a drill and I find myself lagging, I hear a Don in the background talk about, you got to move like a Ferrari speed. Got to move like Ferrari speed.
The biggest thing was to have a good engine.
Yes.
You think in college, you 21 years old, you got energy. You know, you used to just coming straight in off your flip-flops, put your kicks on. You used to just run 505, no stretch, no nothing. Nah, getting ready for the draft was a whole different ballgame. It was like you got to, because you're getting ready for NBA workouts, you feel me?
Yeah.
Then you don't know how many workouts you're going to have at that time because they had the NBA season still going on. And for me, I ended up having 18 workouts, I think, when I look back on it. I did a double with Boston right before the night of the draft. The day before the draft, I did a double with Boston. So Edon's whole thing was to have a big motor. No matter what, your legs cannot stop moving. Missed shot, made shot, whatever it is, you got to have a motor to keep pushing through these drills. Because these drills only last an hour when you go to the workout.
Yeah.
And you went there with 2, 3 other people. But you're competing the whole time. And so you want to show that you can compete. You want to show that you can get out there. There's something that's going to stand out from you and everybody else so that you're that one pick or second pick or whatever in the draft. And so like Kyle said, man, conditioning was huge. We would start the workout out with 10 ladders, I think it was, across 2 courts. Before we started, this is after stretch, like, going right to run it, and then we do the drill. He was like, we're going to be exhausted, and then you're going to work to the point of exhaustion. And when you can work at that, then the game's going to be easy. So that's how you're going to make yourself a Ferrari. That's how you're going to be a well-oiled engine. People don't understand our bodies are like machines, man. You just got to push it to that limit. You know, you can go far if you push it to it. I mean, look at us. We've been playing since 08, bro. This 2020.
It's crazy to think about it, bro. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
We were machines, man. You know, God, you know, willing, no injuries and stuff. We can keep going and keep going. Wheels fall off if we need to. But yeah, getting drafted was, you know, it's crazy that evening going in. Like I said, I worked out for 18 teams. I wasn't gonna go to New York and sit in the green room, so I sat at home, had my family come, and some friends. We just had dinner there, watched the draft on TV. My agent was there, and I think going into the draft, I had Toronto on my radar. Toronto said that they wanted to draft me. I think I don't remember what. I think they had a lottery pick and then they had a later pick in the first round. And they ended up picking Jonas Valanciunas, and it was somebody else. And right after the pick, they was like, "We want you to go undrafted. When you go undrafted, we got a contract. We got a spot for you. We'll pick you up. We got a spot for you." And I was like, "Man, that wasn't the deal. Like y'all I wanted to hear my name.
Y'all reneged.
Yeah, y'all kind of reneged. And it was like as soon as the pick happened, I'm sitting there waiting, like looking at the TV, like." And then it was like somebody else's name. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, damn, like, what happened? And the phone started ringing. They were like, this is what we want you to do. My agent was like, yeah, they want you on draft. I was like, man, nah, I ain't trying to do that. So then I'm like, all right, so now Toronto out the way. So then Detroit called. Detroit, they had a pick coming up. I think they had the first pick or one of the first 3 picks in the second round. They was like, we want to draft you. But we want you to go overseas for 1 year. And I was like, nope. I'm not doing the overseas thing. So, nope, I want to go to the league. That's my whole thing. This whole thing, this is where I want to get. Again, I don't know how this all works. I'm just like, this is how it works. I want to go to the league. So, like, all right, skip that pick. So now the trap passed up on 2 picks now. So I'm just like, damn, I don't know what's going to happen. So now I'm walking around, walk outside. I'm like, I need to figure out what's next. My agent come out there. He's talking to he's talking on the phone to teams trying to figure out what's going on. And all of a sudden, my family's inside getting excited. And they're just like, yo, San Antonio picked you. And I'm like, San Antonio? And I'm like, man, I remember working out for them, but I don't remember, like, did I kill it? Like, I had some workouts. I was like, yeah, they really like me and stuff like this. I didn't think San Antonio was one of them. And apparently they, Pops, he saw something in me that he really liked. He called my name, ended up meeting them. It was a big thing to get drafted by San Antonio, especially meeting that organization and seeing how they were set up and how things work and understanding why they got the championships and why the players that come through there, have been through there. San Antonio was one of those places, A1, best organization in the league, if you ask me at the time. And so that was how that process went for me. Pretty, gut-wrenching, exciting at the same time.
I got a confession, bro. I thought I was gonna go to San Antonio at 57 because we was in that workout together in San Antonio, and then one of the dudes, he was like, because they kept saying like, oh, you like Malik Rose, we like, we trying to find somebody like that. So I thought I was going to 57. So I had my mindset. I was like, yo, worst case scenario, like I'm coming from a small school. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get drafted, but I was like, I'm definitely gonna go 57 to San Antonio.
Right.
So when they called your name, bro, I was cussing you out. I was like, this motherfucker. I was hyped. I was hyped because it was like, this is my guy. We worked out. But at the same time, I was tight. I was like, nah. I was going at this dude every day in DC. I was hot, bro. I was 38 hot, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. But at the end of the day, I was hyped for you because I was like, you's my guy. But the first 3 minutes, I was tight, bro.
That's crazy. I had a similar situation because I remember, like I said, I had a back-to-back workout with Boston the night before the draft. And so my whole thing was, man, I already had 18 workouts. I'm tired as hell. And I'm just like, I don't feel like going to no more drafts. And so as I'm about to head to the airport, my agent's like, yo, Boston wants to pick you up. They got the 30th pick in the draft. And so they got a second draft coming right now. I think Mario Chalmers, George Hill, J.R. Giddens, and somebody else was coming. And so they was like, we want you to come back. And I was like, man, if they're not going to draft me, I'd rather just go home. We got a draft tomorrow. Like, I done did 18 workouts. So I'm not trying to do it. They was like, man, if they call for a second workout, you should probably do it. All right, cool. So we do the second workout. Somebody ends up getting hurt in the very beginning. And so the J.R. Giddens don't got a matchup. And so it's George Hill, Mario Chalmers going head up. I forget who the guy's name was that I was going up against. But J.R. Giddens ends up going against one of the team managers, one of the ball boys, the dudes that they had that work out with you, little token defense dudes. So he had an NBA workout the night before the draft, on the second workout to get drafted. He going against one of these dudes. And so I'm sitting here like, all right, so, I'm doing my thing in the workout. Mario Chalmers doing his battling. JR's out there flying around. I'm talking, we're doing transition. I'm talking, he catching full court oops. Boom, he dunking all over this dude. He got this dude looking like, he had no business being out there, and it was obvious. Who gets drafted at the 30th pick? The Boston picks. Again, Dustin, man. I know. It's cool. I knew I should have took my ass home. But nah, it's crazy to hear that you thought you was gonna have to pick for San Antonio, because I really didn't know San Antonio had an interest or anything. Like, I didn't expect that either. So it's just funny how it come back around. Funny how it come back around.
Shit all works out, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. You got to talk about that Spurs experience, man. Now you go from playing in the ACC, being at, University of Maryland. Now you walk into a locker room, you see, future Hall of Famers, Tim Duncan, Mano. You see Tony Parker. Like, talk about that whole experience.
Yeah, like it was, like I said, Spurs organization was A1, man. You couldn't put that past it. And I did 18 workouts, and that's why I say it's A1, because I was able to see a lot of the different organizations when I went to go work out with them. How they handled us, how we came into the gym with the uniforms, all that stuff, how the workouts were conducted, through the whole thing. San Antonio, when I got there, it was just pretty, like, real basic. And the guys that were there was, Tim and Mano. Like, Tony had one of the coaches, and he was working out in L.A. or Chicago at the time. He had something going on. So he wasn't there through the summer. But Tim and Mano, they were there every day. And the first ones there, when you walk in and being a rookie, we got to be the first ones there. You bring the donuts, you bring everything that you need to be. And there's still got, some of the free agency camps going on, and later on in the summer, after summer league and stuff like that. But as the season's starting to wind down and you start to get ready, preparation for training camp, and you see all the guys that's really there. And Tim and Mano was there every single day. So you got the leaders of the team that's in there working hard. They're getting there working out. They're in the weight room. They come in. They playing the games with us, and afterwards they're getting a workout. Tim go in the pool, get some laps. Mano's out there getting treatment, weight room again. Like, and they doing this every single day. And you got some guys that's coming in and acting like they either hurt or whatever, and these are the leaders. These are guys that play all the games, all the minutes, and they doing it. So you kind of just got to follow behind them. And then when you see, Popovich walk in, I mean, everything get quiet, Mm-hmm. He's the golden guy there. He's like the GM, the president. He is San Antonio. Him and Tim Duncan are San Antonio. They got R.C. Buford. They got, at the time it was Dale Dempsey had, all the guys that's in the office and stuff. It's very Popovich. He says the final words, and I mean, rightly so. He's got a lot of respect and a lot of clout throughout the league. And so, just having an opportunity to be able to pick his brain and, sit in on huddles and be able to play under him in certain games, it was a surreal experience. One of the craziest moments was when we were playing the LA Clippers. I think I put this clip up on my page on IG, and I know they loaded it up online a few times, was when Manu Ginobili drew up one of the last plays for the game. We were playing the Clippers, and Pop was out there talking to assistant coaches, and Manu was in there talking to everybody, getting everybody in the huddle. He was right on the board, and Pop came in the huddle and seen it, and he was just like, all right, final play, whatever, see what happened. And he drew it up, and I mean, this is what you talk about discipline. This is what you talk about, players that are focused at a high level. And this is why they are a championship caliber team, because Pop has the trust in his players to be able to, finish and execute plays at the correct time when it's necessary. Everybody's drilled in on this. So Manu drew a play, boom. I think Gary Neal busted down a three in the corner for the win against the Clippers at the time, and it was lit. To see that, and that was just that hyped me to be in that situation. Yeah. There was one timeout where Popovich called a timeout just to cuss out George Hill. He drew a play for George to come off and make a shot, and I guess George came off and he made a read, which was the right play. Somebody else scored. Greg was hot, called the timeout. As soon as he came to timeout, he said, George, what the fuck are you doing? Excuse my language. I don't know about.
Nah, you
good.
Nah, you good. Yeah. You can say what you want.
What the fuck are you doing? He was like, man, I drew this play. Like, don't you want to be the guy that everybody's talking about in the newspapers? Don't you want to be the guy that, who's rocking the San Antonio jersey and everybody's talking about? You want to be the guy, you want to be the face of this team. You're the rookie that we brought in here to be that guy this year. And you passing up that shot, don't ever pass up that shot again. And when he said that, man, I got hyped. I was ready to check in. I'm like, you got me hyped. He out here playing. You got Tim, Manu, like I said, Tony Parker. You had Mike Finley at the time. You got guys out there that's years in the game. And he put the confidence in a player like that, coming as a rookie on a team like that in the NBA, that's huge. And when you get to experience that, at a level like that, I can't take for granted the experience that I had with San Antonio.
Right. Now, let's talk about your overseas experience. Now, you already kind of hit and talk about like you didn't want to go to overseas at all. So talk about kind of how that happened, how you ended up in in Biella, Italy, and what was that initial experience like for you? Like what did you know about overseas basketball up to that point?
Nothing. Knew nothing about overseas basketball. Like I said, I had my dad was military, so I traveled a lot as a youngin. But I was in school. I wasn't working. I wasn't living on my own either. I was with fam. So now this time around, I'm on my own. Whole different country, whole different aspect. I don't know what's going on. And San Antonio was like, look, we want you to go to Italy. They said, we want you to go over Europe for a year. And I'm sitting here like, damn, like, I just turned down Detroit for this. If I had known y'all would have did this, I'd have said, y'all too. Like, I can't get away from it. I can't get away from it. That's what it got to be. So it was just like, okay, so San Antonio said, we got a perfect plan for you. They kept my rights. It was like, we got you situated. We got a team set out for you, a contract set for you. So you don't have to worry about nothing.
Oh,
and
so
we're going to monitor you.
They set the whole situation up for you?
Everything.
Oh, wow.
Set up everything. Wow. It was like, we found a perfect team for you. This is going to help out where you're going to be able to get out there and play. Like, we were a team that wasn't expected to go. They expected us to actually drop to the second division. We were in first division. They expected us to drop second division. They didn't expect much of us, But we had guys like Reese Gaines, who was at Louisville. We had Joe Smith, who was a guy, I want to say from Alabama. We had Jonas Jerebko. We had Greg Bruner, who came from Iowa. We had a solid team. And we had some solid Italian players, Pietro Adidori, some real solid Italian players. But they just felt like our team just wasn't that good, to compete at that level. So I had no idea about international basketball at the time or any of that. So it was like, okay, I told Pop, I was like, man, I'm ready. Like, Like, I'm ready to come in now and play. I don't want to go overseas. Like, don't do that. He's like, nah. Once you get a year of experience when you playing and you really get the feel for the game, learn how to play the game, and then we're going to bring you back in next year. So I'm like, all right, I just kind of had to take it. That's what it was. So go over to Italy, get there. It's training camp. We get there early August. It's training camp, so we out there, and I'm sitting here like, pull up. It's a small city. I think the other half maybe like 60,000 people, 70,000 people. And mine, it's like 45 minutes from Milan. So, I mean, if I needed to, I could make a ride to a big city. But again, I wasn't even ready for that. I'm just trying to figure out, once I walk out my front door, what I'm going to figure out, I'm in the old country now. So I'm like, thinking about getting on the highway. I ain't even thinking about getting in the car right now. It's just like, think about food, understanding the language. And it was okay because Italian is like kind of similar to Spanish. So I kind of was able to get around and understand a little bit early on. But just the style of play of basketball, I had some good veteran players that kind of helped me understand, what basketball in Europe was like, because it's less possessions. NBA is 12-minute quarters, 48-minute games, Europe is 10-minute quarters. They don't have one guy on the team that's getting up 20, 30 shots. You have team basketball, that ball moving, and, the best players within the offense is usually finding the scores. But, it's just not – it's not like the States. It's different. It took me probably like 2 or 3 months to kind of really adjust to the style of playing in Italy. And it got to the point where I think the coaches were asking me, like, yo, are you even happy here? Like, you want to be here? And I was just like, yeah, like, I'm just trying to figure this out. Like, I'm here by myself. I'm by myself. My family here. My family not here. I'm coming to practice. I'm trying to figure this all out, And so a lot of my play, because I guess I'm coming from the draft. I'm not in the NBA where I want to be, so I'm dealing with a lot of this stuff. The fact that I'm out in the league, the fact that I'm over in a whole other country, the fact that I'm playing here, I don't really understand the things, but I'm not playing bad. I guess it's just I wasn't playing how they expected me to at that time. Mm-hmm. And then around November, December, I think I just broke through that wall. And it just started to roll for me. I started playing really good. San Antonio, Greg Popovich came in 2 or 3 games. RC Buford, the GM at the time, had come to a few games, see me play. And I was really putting up good numbers, and, we were really doing good. We finished in the top 8 at the end of the regular season. We ended up beating Rome that first year when Brandon Jennings was there.
Yeah.
They had
a squad, too. They had a squad.
They had a big mob, yeah. And they were EuroLeague that year, but,
yeah.
I mean, this was Italy. We beat them in the first round of the playoffs. And so, like I said, they expect us to go to the second round, second division. We ended up making the playoffs, getting Rome out of there, who had a crazy budget. One of their players made more than our whole organization, So we made something big happen. Next round, we ended up playing Milan. And it got to the point where we were like, we had some battles during the year. So guys were like, we really could take Milan if we want to. But, we've been here all year. Like, we done got our bonus. We got a bonus. Be here right now. Let's get back to the crib. Let's just celebrate. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm ready to get back and celebrate, go do summer league and get ready for San Antonio anyway. So, I mean, that's how we finished the year out. We let Milan roll on and ended up being Milan Siena in the senior in the finals. And then I think Siena ended up winning that game. Siena was running things in Italy that year.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Italian experience was cool. The food was good. I got to travel to Rome, Naples, Milan, Florence. Italy is dope. For people that haven't got a chance to visit, Italy's opportunities.
So, obviously you had goals and plans to go back to San Antonio and join the Spurs that next season. But you had with Locomotive. So how did that come about? Did
so I come back, do the summer league thing, get ready for training camp. And the day before training camp, man, I lie to you not, we doing testing, like shuttle run, vert test, conditioning tests, all that stuff. The final preparation stuff that you do, show that you're ready for camp, get ready to sign and everything. And we doing the shuttle run, 60-yard dash, and I'm racing George Hill. First time around, me and him neck and neck. I'm like, I told George, like, I could burn you. I think I can get you as a big. That was like, I use that as motivation. Me and Kyle, like, when we get on the guard, we like,
it's time.
Every time I'm in drills, every time I'm in practice, every time I get a chance to go against a guard, especially if I think he the fastest, if I think he the best one-on-one player, I'm like, let me get them ones. So in this race, it was me and George. So first time me and neck and neck, he win. And I'm like, man, I'll get you the second time. So we burning it out, neck and neck. As I pushed to the finish line, dog, I tore my quad, bro. Complete tear. Boom. I'm out 3 months. And so now I'm sidelined. They start training camp the next day. And I'm just like, damn, everything that I worked for all summer long, you know, and I'm ready, like I'm here. I'm sitting here on the table questioning my shit, like, am I all right, or am I gonna be able to play basketball again? You know, San Antonio, they was like, man, I had to stay down there for like 6 weeks on crutches. I couldn't leave the hotel, or not couldn't leave the hotel, but I couldn't do anything. I had to stay on crutches for 6 weeks. So I was doing rehab and stuff during that time. So for 3 months, you know, I'm out of commission. And as I started getting myself back into playing mode and being able to practice and pick up a ball again, they give me the opportunity to either play with the Austin Toros at the time, which was the D-League affiliate, or go back overseas. And so when I look at that time, D-League, I think, was making $15,000.
Yeah, man.
Be $20,000. That's before tax.
Yeah.
You know, and
Down
then,
20.
yeah, and I mean, Locomotive or just in general, them contracts over there, 6 figures. And I'm looking like, you know,
I gotta eat.
So we got the same deal on the table, right? Next summer, you know, I come back, we got the same thing, right? We try it again. All right, cool. I'm going to Locomotive. I'm heading out to Russia. You know, I'm not going to do the Austin Charles thing, thing, you know. So, and I had no idea what I was going to expect going out there. And pulling up there, you know, first day, I'm in the hotel going to the lobby because I'm getting ready to meet the guys downstairs or who was coming to meet us because we flew into Moscow, but we had a game in Kazan in 2 days. So we had to fly to Kazan to play them. And so I'm going to the lobby, go to breakfast, and walk in the lobby, and Gerald Green's down there. You know, he's down there, dude that played with Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
He's in the lobby. So I'm like, what's up, G? And we were just in San Antonio that summer hooping. You know, so I knew him from earlier that summer. So, you know, he's out there. I'm like, what you doing out here? He's like, man, I just signed with some Russian team. We got a game in a couple of days. I'm like, who you signed with? So we sitting there trying to figure out the name. Turns out we on the same team. So I'm just like, all right. So I got somebody I'm cool with here. Like, it's, you know, only 2 black people in Russia though right now. We in Moscow. You know, so we come there. I'm like, all right, so I got somebody I can kick it with. So the manager comes, pick us up. We got to go do our physicals, whatever, real quick. Bust on our physicals, and we hop on the plane, get to Kazan, sleep. Next day we got the game. We start out, I think we ended up losing the game by like 10 maybe, but that was our first game, introduction to the team. At the time, Kuban was Euro Cup, but I think they had already not made the amount of games that they needed to advance to the next round, so we had like 2 or 3 games left in the first round. Finished those out, and I think after we lost in the Euro Cup and after that jump was over, they ended up firing the coach. So this is the first time I'm experiencing a coach firing during the season. And this was then the first week or 2 of me being there. And so I'm like, damn, we wake up, go to breakfast, and coach just comes in and was like, man, I just wish y'all to have the best season. You know, y'all can have and everything. You know, good luck and everything. You know, I see y'all and whatever. I'm like, where he going? We got a game today. He got fired. I'm like, why he get fired? He ain't do nothing wrong. Like, he ain't bad. He cool. He's a cool dude. It was like, you know, it is what it is. It's business. So I'm just like, damn, like, so I guess this is how it is. So now we go to a game today. We playing Dynamo, and we don't have no coach. We're going with the assistant coach or whatever. And so we went in there. I think we got slapped by 30. You know, it was just something crazy. And the season ended up turning out to be better than it was. You know, but I think the hardest part was just understanding that I'm living in Russia now. You know, and I wasn't in Moscow. I wasn't in St. Petersburg. It wasn't like when you in the main hubs. You know, the touristy parts of the city. And don't get me wrong, those are real Russia too, but you in the outside city, yeah, that's different.
That's real. That's real out there.
Yeah. It took me a couple of months to kind of get accustomed to that. I ended up meeting somebody out there that ended up being real cool, professional cook. And he was just like, it was crazy because he was sitting there. He happened to be on a plane coming back from Moscow. I think we had just finished playing either Dynamo or not Dynamo. We played whatever team Alexis Fed played on. I can't remember. But we played them, and we were coming back, and he ended up being on the plane with us, and we went out to dinner that night. Me and Gerald on some spot called Grey Goose, I think it was. And he happened to be at dinner with like 2 chicks. And so he's at the table behind us, and he's just sitting there staring at us. So I'm looking at Gerald. I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on, but this dude over here just seemed like he got an issue, or like, I don't know what it is. He don't speak English. So, you know, I'm always on the swivel. When I'm in places, no comfort, I'm never all the way relaxed. You know, people get caught slipping all the time, and it just won't be me. And so he actually gets up, he walks over, and he's like, excuse me, you know, English was perfect. He was like, I got a question. He was like, I just want to know, is it possible I can come and sit here and just talk to you? So me and Gerald look at each other, we're like, all right, what's up? He was like, so I was sitting on the plane with you guys, seeing that you guys are basketball players. Now I'm sitting here, you guys are actually speaking English. So I want to have a conversation because I never had a conversation with guys like you. And so I'm sitting here like, you know, what you mean? Like,
Flag went up.
I didn't want to say it, but like, you know, two black guys.
Yeah.
Black guys. And I mean, he knew the difference between, you know, when you're in Europe, there are black people in Europe, but the black people in Europe are necessarily from Africa. They're not necessarily from America. It's different.
Okay.
Or, you know, they're from France or from London. You know, they you know, migrated to these places. You know, they lived there their whole life. They're not from America. You know, it's a difference between the black people that come from America and a difference between black people that live over there. And so he's like, I know that you're not like everybody else that I've seen before, so I just want to have a conversation with you. That's all it was. It was real innocent, though, so it was like, all right. And at the time, you know, me and Gerald looked, we see the girls, and we just like, man, he got 2 girls with him. Like, he said by himself, shit, why
What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, what's the worst that can happen? Maybe he can help us out because, you know, we ain't getting no luck. We ain't getting out. This the only restaurant we know. We ain't talking to no girls. We ain't nothing. So, yeah, finally got to do to speak English. Come on, bro, sit down. You invited. Cool. He wasn't really being disrespectful, so it was cool. Ended up having a lifelong relationship with this dude, man.
Really?
Great. He came. He cooked for us whenever we needed anything. All he would be like, man, just go to the grocery store, get what you need. I'll cook it. And like we would go out. He translated anything we needed, any help we needed. Like he made the whole situation with Russia so much better. Once we met him, Russia became great for me.
That's crazy, man. So, that's crazy. I'll talk about the, you know, when you get back that summer and then you want to, this is finally, I guess, you know, you looking at like it's finally your time with San Antonio. So you going back to Summer League. What exactly happened? How that all transpired?
Going back to Summer League, you know, it was like I came in. I was hyped too because I'm like, you know, first year, boom, got hit with a double whammy. Wasn't ready for that. It was like, wasn't ready. Second year, got hurt. Wasn't ready for that. Didn't plan for that. Third year, I'm like, all right, I'm Gucci. Like I done did my runs. It's my time now. You know, San Antonio didn't pass me back around. I done did what y'all wanted me to do, and I had the seasons y'all wanted me to have. You know, what's up? So going to Summer League, I'm hooping. First game, I think we played Atlanta, and I think in the first half I go out there, killing 10. I think I had 12 and 10 first half, like going into the halftime. And last play of the half, Jeff Teague is driving to the basket, and I'm going to go catch that shit off the glass. And so when I'm going, one of my guys comes to try to take a charge on Jeff, and as he goes up, he takes me out. As I'm going for the block, I come down, boom, mess up my wrist. Right. So now I'm like, Summer League, don't get to play. And that was the first game. That was the opening game of Summer League. Don't get to play Summer League. So now it's like, all right, now I just got training camp. But I got to go back to San Antonio and get my jump checked out. I didn't have to get surgery. I didn't break it. But I had to chill out for a couple of weeks. So then, now all I really got is the free agency camps that they coming along, working out every day. They see me, we in there hooping. I mean, the game's going on. We competitive. Go through preseason, training camp. Boom. And I played really well in all the games that we played. We played Miami when LeBron was there. Played, you know, against Carmelo. Played against Yao Ming when he was in Houston. That dude is so huge, man. I remember Marjanovic is big, dude. Yeah. Yao Ming, like, nah, I came up to his shoulder blade, like his lower part of his shoulder blade. Yo, it's like, it's crazy. So, you know, I mean, I got a chance to play in these games. And so I'm thinking, like, all right, it's my time. And I'm talking to my agent. They're like, you know, you're doing really well. You play. They're saying that you're the best performer right now in the training camp. Keep doing what you're doing. It comes up the contract I signed. If I'm there opening night, my contract is guaranteed through the whole season. And so we played OKC in San Antonio. And so now I'm really thinking I'm about to play because it's KD, Jeff Green, and Russell Westbrook, you know, James Harden there, but mainly because KD and Jeff Green. And I'm like, yeah, this is some hometown stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
it's your peoples.
Yeah, it is my peoples. Like, we hoop during the summertime together. So this is some bump. Like, it's preseason. Yeah. Like, you ain't got to prove nothing. All right, first quarter, I get it. Let the stars play and all this stuff. But they hooping out there. So, like, let the young guns get it. You got some young gunners right now with me, George Hill, Alonzo G, Malik Harrison. Mm-hmm. Like, you had some guys that really wanted to get out there and get after it. Some young dudes that DeJuan Blair was there. Like, they really wanted to get after it. And so I didn't see the court, bro. Didn't see the court. And I'm sitting there like, dang, like, I kind of took that personal because you know OKC beat the hell out of us that game too. And Jeff Green, Russ, KD, they laughing, dunking that John, hit threes, all that John. I'm just like, man, I'm supposed to be out there getting after these dudes. Like, I feel like I can really run with them.
Right.
And so after the game, you know, we come the next day. I think we had one more game. I forget who it was, and then the next day was gonna be opening night. And so we go to shoot around. And right at the shoot around, they hit me with the, you know, Coach Pop want to talk to you. And then in the office, so I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go holler at him real quick. And it wasn't Coach Pop. It was actually Chad Forcier, which was the player development coach at the time. And he was like, you know, we think that you've been really good for us at the time and all that, but at the same time, we don't have enough space. Like, it's a numbers thing. You know, it's not that we don't want you. It's not that we don't need you. It's that we don't know where we can play you because we got like 6 bigs at the time. I think it was Antonio McDyess, Theo Ratliff, Tim Duncan, Matt Bonner, DeJuan Blair had signed because he was their first round draft pick, and it was somebody else. So they already had 6 bigs. And so he's like, where are we going to play you? Like, where are we going to get you minutes? So, you know, at the end of the day, it's not that we don't want to sign you. We want to put you on the D-League squad and go with the D-League thing. We want to put you on the D-League squad, and we're going to move you up throughout the year. You know, somebody get sick, somebody get hurt, somebody get minutes. We're going to move you up throughout the year, you know, all this stuff. And in my mind at that time, I'm sitting here like, I done did 3 years back and forth with this jump. Like, I'm wasting time because I feel like I could have been with anybody else.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
teams that were talking to me as far as like, and at the time it's illegal to do, but teams was like, you know, like I had a couple teams who was seriously like, yo, what is San Antonio gonna do? Because they're not gonna use you. Get your rights traded, and we're gonna sign you.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you know, can't really legally do that, you know, until the team to release me so that I can go to you, but we can try to figure out what to happen.
Yeah. And then
so,
at the same time for you probably too is San Antonio. So you like San Antonio like the top of the top. So like you like if I could hoop for San Antonio, like
right,
I'm gonna go anywhere else.
And meanwhile, I'm in camp killing. It's not like I'm not playing good, and I'm not one to toot my own horn. I'm not that type of guy. I'm humble when it comes to this stuff. But I really was making it known that I can play at this level. I can play with these guys, you know. And so they was like, we want to do this. So I was just like, man, at that time I was like, no, I'm good. I'll figure it out. Like, thank you. I was kind of salty. I probably was a little unprofessional. And at the time I probably should have took the D-League thinking maybe it would have worked out a different way. I don't know. But I was like, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate y'all, you know, letting me come here and be able to, you know, show off my talents and try to do what I can. But, no, thank you. I'll try to figure it out from here. And so it was just like, damn. So, you know, I left the gym. I'm hot. You know, I'm thinking, like, we had a game that night. We had a game that night, and the next day is over in San. So I just got an apartment out there thinking, you know, I'm about to be out there for the year. You know, just something low-key, nothing crazy. And when that happened, I'm like, damn, what's next? So I hit my agent. And my agent, the sick thing was right before shoot around, my agent was like, yeah, they saying that you doing really good. Don't worry. Keep doing what you're doing. Everything all right. You know, talk afterwards. You're ready for the game tonight. So I even went in there thinking everything was cool. So coming out after getting that call was just like, damn, like, so what's up? And that's when my agent hit me with they was like, just wait around for a couple of days. We'll figure something out. So I'm in San Antonio chilling. Get a call. Partizan wants me to play. For them, team in Serbia, Belgrade. I didn't know nothing about it at the time. You know, I was just like, whatever. You know, I need to hoop, and I need to get out of San Antonio. Like, I don't want to be here right now. Just get me out of here. And so at that time, it was like, all right, we got to fight for you the next day. They got a game somewhere, so you know, get out there and go play. So I'm like, all right, I shoot out there, close all my stuff up in San Antonio, fly home, get my stuff, and I shoot out to Belgrade. And we go to Slovenia. I think we had a game against Olympia Ljubljana at the time. It was an Asiatic big game at that time. And we go there, play there, and that was my first game in Europe. That was my first, like, not first game in Europe, but at least introduction to not being a part of associated with NBA in San Antonio anymore. It was like, all right, now JG, you on your own from here. You got to figure it out. If you're gonna try to get to the league, you got to start doing your own thing because San Antonio got your back now. But I was just, that's how the transition went from, not finishing up with San Antonio and going into that third year and ended up in Partizan. Right. From that point on, that was my whole experience. And Partizan that year was EuroLeague, so that was my introduction to EuroLeague too. You know, that year, it was crazy. You know, back overseas again, I was looking at it like that. And I didn't realize how popping Belgrade was. I didn't realize how stuff. I was just so closed off to the fact that I wasn't in the league, to the fact that I felt like I deserved to be in that position more than a lot of people that actually was. And the third was that, you know, I'm back over here and I got a chip on my shoulder and I got something to prove. Now I got a reason to be on what I'm on because either people got me fucked up and don't think I deserve to be here, or I just really got to show and prove. Like, look, I'm real about what I come with. I bring it when I come on the court. That's just me, you know. And I mean, you know, when we step on the court, Kyle know we grind, we go after it. He can hit his best, and you know we're gonna fight it out all the way to the end. At the end, it's always gonna be good. You know, off the court we can chop it up, go out, eat, drink, do whatever. But on the court, we dogs when it comes to it, man. We give our all. And that's why I got so much respect for Kyle, because he gave me his all. Biggest respect, player. Is giving, not letting nobody get baskets or, you know, trying to see him do a highlight. Nah, we out here competing, you know. We eating. That's it. You make me better, I make you better. It's better for all of us.
Same.
I'll talk about that, the fan base in Serbia, Partizan in particular. You know, Serbia, they got some of the craziest fans in the world. So just talk about that atmosphere and some of those derby games versus Red Star.
So for me, you know, it goes different because, like you said, Red Star too. This year I played with Red Star, but my first year in the introduction to EuroLeague was with Partizan, which unfortunately they're both very serious rivals. You know, so not to bring anything in between that, but with Partizan, man, coming in, you know, like I said, my first game was against Olympia Ljubljana, so we were in Slovenia. It wasn't even a home game. And I think we did one of the dumbest things ever, what I thought was one of the dumb things at the time, but apparently it's like European philosophy. You know, if you up one at the end of the game,
you foul.
You foul. You foul. Let them shoot free throws.
You get the last shot.
You get the last shot. Jasmine is in your hands. In my mind, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Right. Game's over.
Lock up. And I'm just coming from San Antonio. Great, all this stuff. I'm just coming from this. So it's like, you know, we at one point, and I mean, it was a good game. You know, they were competitive. And so we at one point, coach called a timeout, and we were sitting there trying to figure out what we were going to do. And I'm like, all right, you know, it should be pretty simple. You got so-and-so, either we switching or we just going to lock up. And he's like, foul. As soon as they catch the ball. And I'm like, foul? It's 9 seconds on the clock. We can't just D up. They're like, nah, because if they score, we lose, we don't get a shot. You know, at least if we foul, we get a chance to shoot at the end. We ended up fouling. They made 2 free throws. We didn't even get a shot off. I went in the locker room. I was hot. This is my first game with this team. So I was like, man, this is who I'm playing with. I really want to get out of here. I was like, this is dumb as hell. What we just do. I was like, we losing games now? And so, you know, they really tried to explain to me, like, that's how they do things in Europe. So that was a hard pill to swallow, but I had to accept that. So coming back into Belgrade, I'm hitting my agent because we got to practice for about a week because we ain't had no games. This is when EuroLeague was the old setup where they had group phases. And so we had like that week, I think we had free. So Belgrade is cold, snowing. I don't know nothing. My teammates ain't really trying to go nowhere. They all like, you know, no, we got practice in the morning. And Belgrade, Serbia is just one of those countries where basketball is real military style. So everything is real. You know, we practice every day, 2 hours a day, morning and afternoon, tape, all that. So we getting after it. So I'm just like, I'm just coming from the league. So I'm like, man, I'm not doing all this. Like, so now we practicing all this. And I'm hitting my agent like, yo, you got to get me out of here. Like, this shit sucks. Like, I don't want to be here at all. Like, the team, we just did some dumb ass last game. You know, this city, I ain't figured out the city. My teammates ain't trying to do nothing. And so I'm like, all right. He's like, just wait on, hold on. We're going to figure it out. First EuroLeague game come, we played Maccabi at the crib. And Maccabi, like, is a big team at that time. I didn't know much about them, but they was a big team. So, you know, Partizan fans, we in Jalapeno, they show up. I'm talking about 2 hours before the game. That whole thing is sold out. Fans singing. They got these papers that's all big black and white construction pieces of boards, and they just hold them up. And so I'm looking at the crowd like, what the hell is going on in here? Like, I never seen it like I went to Maryland. Like, the fans there was crazy, but I never seen nothing like this. So they in there, like, singing, chanting, going crazy, big game. You can't even hear. Like, we can't even have a little conversation because it's so loud in there. And so the game goes on. I think we ended up getting slapped by a 20-piece. They beat the dog mess out of us. And so I'm pissed off that we lost, but it was lit. Like, the atmosphere was just crazy. I'm like, all right, I never seen nothing like this before. Like, this is dope. Going to the locker room, coaches cussing us out, and the fans are still out there. They're still singing and chanting and all that stuff. And so they're so loud that the coach can't even really do the in-game speech because this is over. So he's like, man, they want you to go back out there. I'm like, go back out there for what? Man, it's like 15, 20 minutes after the game. We go back out there. It's full. Nobody left. Nobody left the gym, and they still in there singing. Like, the guys are translating it to me like, we love you, we do this, we do that. And I'm just sitting here like, damn. I know fans that be like, man, fuck y'all lost by 20.
Y'all some trash.
And it was like, I mean, but they really showed love. And so it was like, dang, this is dope. From a basketball experience, that was dope. Yeah. To even see how that was, like, not a fan left the gym. It's still sold out. It's smoking. They got flares. They singing. They chant. Everything. Got the papers, flags, everything. I'm just like, this is crazy. So after that, I'm just like, shoot, I'm going to figure out what's going on. I'm going to try to go out and see. Went out. My teammates was like, don't go out. You know, team got a curfew. I'm like, man, nobody told me about no curfew. Y'all got a curfew. Oh, I ain't got no curfew. Ended up going by myself, Belgrade. Found out Belgrade is one of the most popular cities ever.
Yeah, it's different, man.
Belgrade is a different level. And so after I figured out that the games was how it was when we played Maccabi, and that the nightlife is how it is, I hit my agent back like, yo, I'm cool. I'll figure it out. And so that ended up being like my best year. You know, EuroLeague-wise, coming on the scene like that, I think I ended up missing the Defensive Player of the Year vote to Diamantidis, who at the time I had no idea. I had no idea about the EuroLeague circuit at all. This was just like, you know, you throwing me in the fire. I'm just figuring it out. I ended up coming in second in votes, I think, behind Diamantidis for the Defensive Player of the Year that year. We ended up making the top 16. We didn't make it out of that group to go to the playoffs, but, you know, for Partizan's level, we had a great year. It was a good year, and I played with Jan Vesely at the time. This is before he went to the draft with the Wizards. I played with him, Nate Jawai, Oliver Lafayette at the beginning of the year, and then they got him out of there and brought in Curtis Gerald. You know, I have a lot of the Serbian guys that are playing now in EuroLeague who are some of the highly touted guys. You know, so we had a good team, you know, good vibe in that year, which is huge. We won 3 championships, won the Adriatic League, won the Serbian Cup and the Serbian title. Like I said, top 16 in EuroLeague. It was a successful season for them. It was cool. That year was popping, man.
No, that's love. That's love for sure. And I know after that, you went through Fenerbahce and then Malaga. But this is a huge question that, you know, I heard rumors about this, and I didn't really know what went down. And I always want to talk to you about this. But I want to hear about that player-to-player trade that happened that ended up sending you to Panathinakos. So I want you to, you know, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this job was crazy because, I mean, you know, you hear about trades all the time, like in the league and stuff like that. Players find out all the time, you know, you get traded, but you never heard about it in Europe. And so at the time, you know, I'm in Malaga. After I finished my season in Partizan, I went to Fener because it was an NBA lockout. So I had a chance to try to make my push because of the season I had in Partizan the year. I wanted to go to the league. NBA lockout happened, boom. So didn't know I ended up signing back in Europe. Went to the Fener, finished that season out. Didn't really have such a great year. So going to the summer trying to figure out what my next move was going to be. Malaga comes online. So I ended up going to Malaga in Spain. And what's crazy is I had to pick between Malaga and Panathinakos. Panathinakos called me that summer. Diamantidis called me that summer and was like, yo, we want you to come. The coach was like, man, we think it would be big for you to come here. So I was like, man, Panathinakos, like this is one of the big teams, right? Like, I didn't know nothing about it, but I started doing research, and then I found out the coach had left. Obradovic started that he had retired at that time, and like 10 of the players from that team had left. And so I'm saying, like, dang, like that's a huge opportunity to go play with Diamantidis. But now I don't think it's the same team because the coach is gone and all the players are gone. A couple of them came back, so I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do that. I think I'm gonna stick with Malaga because at the time Marcus Williams, that went to UConn at point guard, he was playing there. And I was familiar with him and a couple other guys that I knew. They had a good team, ACB. You know, I felt like if we lost the EuroLeague, at least we still had ACB to stand on. And I was still trying to make my run back to the league at the time. Mm-hmm. So I was like, that's just, for me, my career, I think Malaga would be a better move. So go to Malaga. And from day one, bro, Coach ain't bang with me. And apparently I wasn't his pick. I don't know why. I didn't know why he didn't bang with me because, you know, I'm not that type of guy. I don't come in trying to cause problems. I just come in, want to work hard, and want to win. I try to bring everybody with me. And so from the beginning, he just didn't like me, bro. He did not like me. He wasn't a fan of me. At one point, we almost got in a fist fight, bro, during the game. Like in a game that we was up by 20 points. Like we was face to face, nose to nose at the timeout, bro. At the end of the game, we was up 20 points. And he was really pushing me to that limit to try to get me to take that step, I guess, to do what he wanted me to do. And I was just like, I had to reel myself back in, get professional. And was like, man, this ain't it. You know, so I never had a bad relationship with a coach because I've always been the type of person or player that a coach wants on his team. You know, so for this relationship with this coach was the first time for me to experience this. And so we go back and forth. And I mean, we ended up having a meeting with the GM and the president of the team. And I was just like, man, we don't have to like each other. We don't got to like each other. We just got to have the same goal. We got to be willing to work with each other to achieve this goal. I want to win. You want to win. I don't got to talk to you. You don't got to talk to me. But, you know, I'm willing to work with you. If you can work with me, we can do that. So we agreed on that. Cool. I'm thinking this out the window. Fast forward like a month later, because this all happened in December. So the season just started October. This all happened in December. I'm going to the gym, and we got the last game of the first round. And mind you, Malaga, we're first in EuroLeague at that time. In our group, we're first. You know, we're tied, I think, with Maccabi. We were killing that year. And so I really didn't think that I had any issues within the team. I knew the coach didn't really like me, but as far as my play went, like, we were solid. I was solid. And so after the last game of the first round, a reporter comes up to me and they're like, yo, so is this your last game in the Malaga jersey? And I'm like, what? And I'm like, nah, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, yeah. So there are rumors that you're not going to be in Malaga anymore. And I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, you got to talk to the team about that. And now before the game, you know, what's crazy is the coach called me in a meeting. And he was like, you know, we saw something that you posted on Facebook. And at the time, I had Facebook, but I didn't have a Facebook under my name. It was an alias, so that I could just have my own page without all the BS that come along with it. Right. And so somebody had a Facebook page that was posting stuff about me wanting to leave Malaga because of minutes and because of I don't like the coach and I don't like the organization, all this stuff. And it was a fake page. But the coach brought me in the office before the game and said, you know, we saw this, and I want you to know that there are rumors out there, but they're not true and all this. And I'm just like, man, what are y'all talking about? I got a fake. That's a fake page for one. Two, now that y'all talking about it, there must be some truth behind it because I don't know nothing about it. And so after the game, you know, the reporter asked me that. So I'm like, man, I go back to the house and I hit my agent like, yo, what's up? They talking about, you know, I'm not going to be a Malaga no more. Is there anything going on? He's like, well, there's some rumors that you might get traded. And I'm like, man, let me know what's going on, traded where? And I'm like, Panathinakos. And I was like, Panathinakos, like to Greece. And I'm like, damn. And I'm sitting here looking at Malaga. I mean, I'm on the beach, you know, you've been in Malaga before. Paradise, you on the water. And don't get me wrong, I didn't know nothing about Athens yet. Yeah. This is Malaga. You know, after playing in Italy, in Biella, playing Russia, in Kuban, playing in, you know, Partizan in Belgrade, I get a chance in Istanbul, I get a chance to play in Malaga. Yeah. I leave, so I'm sitting here like, man, what? Like, I'm getting traded. Like, all right. So my agent hit me the next day. Was like, yeah, you got 18 hours to get out of here. They got a game on Sunday. They want you to be there.
18 so I got hours?
Whole house, me, wifey, and the dog, pack up a whole house, 18 hours, bro, to bounce. And so I'm sitting here like, yo, wifey crying, wifey in the gym, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's around her birthday time, right before Christmas and New Year's. So it's just it's a hectic time right now. And at the end of the day, like I'm saying, like I done bounced around from team to team now. You know, at a certain point in your career, when you don't stick with a certain team, they're like, you know, what's wrong? Why can't he stick with a team? Why every year he going to a new team? Why he can't stay with the team? I'm saying like, man, it seemed like every year I bounce to a new team. One team was just in Italy, then it was Russia, then it was, you know, Serbia, then Turkey, now Spain, and now I'm getting traded to Greece. Like, is this starting to look like a bad thing on my career? Like, am I doing something wrong? And at the time, like, I didn't realize why the trade was happening, but later to come to find out, the coach was talking bad on me. He was saying that, you know, nobody can win anything big with James Gets on the team. He's not a team player, and he's not a serious player. He's not a high-level player. And so he's putting these in the media. So when I'm hearing this, I'm like, damn, like, you know, and like I said, we was first place at that time at the end of the first round, going into the top 16. Like, we were solid. ACB, we weren't, you know, we was kind of in between. We was in a little bit of like 9th, 10th place, but this early in the year, we were worried about EuroLeague right now. We're not thinking about ACB. But I think that was the issue for Malaga, was they wanted the competition to be higher in ACB and not so much EuroLeague. So that was the decision. And when I found out, and then to come to find out, Panathinakos was in the same top 16 group with Malaga. So when the rumor came out, I was like, that don't make sense. Why are you going to sit in the next week or so? And so of course, it's true. I get traded. You know, I'm out there in Greece now. Top 16 start. And now I'm sitting here trying to, like, assert myself because I feel like I'm on my last leg. Like, I don't know what to expect now. You know, I just got traded. I just got involved in the first trade, player-for-player trade. You know, just that this I had this contract was me. You know, I guess that's how it worked out. Was we had the exact same contract. Maybe a little bit, the numbers were the same, but maybe it was some little details in the contract that had to be changed around. But other than that, the guy Andy Panko that I got traded for happened to get MVP of the ACB the year before. So the team in Spain was cool with taking him. And Panathinakos wanted me all the way from the summertime anyway. So apparently they was cool with getting me. So it worked out like that. So apparently I was a perfect fit for Powell. Yeah, I mean, it worked out because I was 7 years there. I ended up being 7 years there. Turned out in the beginning I thought it was a nightmare. I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought it was going to be close to the end of my career, you know, after this. But it ended up being the best move ever. You know, it ended up being my starting point has taken me to another level on the European scene.
That's what I was going to ask you about, because like it's kind of crazy how like you went through what 6 or 7 countries in like a 6-year period, and then you end up finding a home at Panathinakos. So it was like crazy how like it all kind of like that full circle kind of works out. And at one point during your career, now that you, like I said, you at Panathinakos, what point did you just stop chasing the league and you was like, you know, like Panathinakos is my home, like Athens is my home. This is where I want to be, you know, overseas.
When Powell kept re-signing me, shit, they kept giving me, and it was like, you know, when you're doing the European contracts, them Jones be signing early.
Yeah.
You know, you signing that Jones early. Free agency don't start till July 10th. You feel me? So it's like the window ain't even there to hold out. If you want that bread that's on the table, you gotta catch that Jones early. And most teams ain't gonna hold on. And then when I was re-signing with Powell, the whole thing was I want an NBA buyout. Because if I got an NBA out, then I can go say, all right, we'll get your NBA out. But that only give me from July 10th to July 20th. And they're not gonna let you sign with us down. They're not gonna do summer league with an NBA team. So that's like how they get you.
It's a setup.
Yeah, setup. So it's like, damn, I'm chasing the league. I got a window. I got 10 days. So I'm calling, yo, you want to sign me? Like, yeah, you want to bring me for workout. I do workout, but I can't do summer league, you know. So if you're going to sign me, I need to know now. Right. No NBA team signing nobody in July that ain't signing for $10 million or more, nothing like that. You feel me? So it's like I was kind of stuck in between, like, do I need the comfortability and the security of having a job for the next couple of years, or do I take the chance of chasing the NBA dream? And so for me, at the time, I'm building a family. I got my daughter. You know, I have to have the security. If I was dolo by myself, maybe I'd have took a different route. But for me, I needed the security to know that for the next couple of years, I got a job. And I figured if I had the NBA out of my contract with the way things are going, I mean, they came and got Patrick Beverly from Spartak, from St. Petersburg. If the league wants you, they're going to come get you. Right. Right. Want you, they're going to come get you. And so that's just how I had to accept it. And a lot of times it's like, when you look at the big picture, we play basketball because this is what we want to do for our livelihood. We love the game. We get paid for it. We get paid a good amount of money to play at a high level and win championships. And at the end of the day, I don't want to have to do it for a logo. I don't want to be bounded by, you know, all right, I'm doing it just to say I'm in the NBA. Because, you know, living over here in Europe, bro, Kyle, we kings over this jump, bro.
Facts.
Real life.
Facts.
Like, you talk about LeBron, like, you on a legendary status, my dude. You on a legendary
status. Same with you.
Like LeBron. You talk about guys like D-Wade. You talk about guys in the league, when they walk around, everybody talking, oh, that's such and such. That's how we are in Europe. So you telling me to give that up, to go to the league, to sign, first of all, your first contract going to be minimum, especially with the way things going right now, because everybody got a big 3. So you're not going to get that crazy. You feel me? You're sitting on the bench. You're not getting all the minutes. You're not getting the clout. Everybody, you just kind of like another dude. You know, you're not really living the dream. You're living it because you're there. You're living it because of the perks. But is you really hooping? Right. You really happy? You just working out every day. You know, for guys like us, we want to hoop. We want to contribute to the team. We don't want to just be there and be like, I was there. Nah, I was on. You feel me? And so you got to kind of weigh that. Like, what do you want? You want to do it for the logo just to say I was in the league but not really contribute to nothing? Or would you take the chance of making a lot of money in Europe, tax-free, that you can bring home at the end of the day and, you know, healthy and be cool? I mean, yeah, you out of the way. People ain't really talking about you, but you making a lifestyle over here. Like, a lot of people don't know. It's nice. you catch yourself in a nice situation. Yeah, there's some horror stories. Yeah, there's some situations we all have probably been through, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, it's worth it. You in the league, you paying for everything. You paying for your house. You paying for your car. You paying for the lifestyle. You paying for food, all that stuff. You know, it sucks having team dinners. It sucks hotels and all this stuff. But, hey, we don't got to pay for that stuff.
Nah.
I mean, unless you try to do some extravagant stuff, that stuff is given to you. So you get to save up overseas. You get to save up your money. You know, you don't got to pay half of the taxes. The team paying your taxes. But it's supposed to be. You know, so that's another thing that a lot of players don't think about. And when you look at it coming into basketball, you look at the longevity that we got, we're lucky. Some people don't get more than 2-3 years, you know. So for us to be able to establish the money that we'll be able to establish over this time, you know, not a lot of people get the opportunity to make that much money for as long as we've been able to. So people got to this. So you got to understand, you know, the levels that you're at with this and the time that you have with this. You know, we're lucky to be able to do this.
Most definitely. We all, you know, we all played in Greece and definitely, you know, lived out there. I know you and Kyle spent a much bigger time, and y'all had that whole rivalry. But you got to talk about now. You know, you went from Malaga, but now you living in Athens. You got to talk about the Greek culture and all that. I remember at one point, your Instagram name was Gistanopoulos and all that. So you got to talk about, you know, the culture. Embrace you and all that.
He understand he's a legend in Greece, bro. Like you don't hear nothing until you hear 25,000 people chanting his name. He got his own chant, bro. Like when you hear people chant your name, bro. So don't undersell it at all, man. Don't undersell it.
Exactly.
It's crazy because, you know, I didn't come in there like that. You feel me? It wasn't like that coming in there. I came in there mid-season off a trade. You know, the guys are already there, already had the team established. So I think I kind of, out of the first year, you know, established myself as one of the fan favorites. But I was there with Lasme. You know, Lasme was a fan favorite. It was me. It was Stefan. And I mean, of course, they had Diamantidis there, who was the god for them. But for me, you know, it was crazy coming into a situation, not knowing what was next, feeling like I was on my last leg. And being able to turn the table around like I did and to be accepted into the team and in the Greek culture, you know, they just liked the energy and the passion that I played with. You know, they saw the fight me. They saw that I was fighting for the win. They took it as me fighting for them. I took it as me fighting for me. I was like, yo, I'm not trying to stop playing basketball. I ain't ready to retire. You know? I mean, they respected it. They respected it. You know, me and the president, we ended up establishing a good relationship while I was there. And, you know, they accepted me as one of theirs. And then when that happened, you know, from that point on, everything just went up. You know, you get the connections around. And then, you know, when I was living in Malaga, I was living on the water. When I first got to Greece, I was living in Kefisia. So this is like a small city area, a small suburb area in Greece. I don't see no water. I see the tip top of mountains and stuff like that, but I don't see nothing. But now, after this first couple of seasons, I integrate myself in the Greek culture and within the team. I'm starting to see more in Athens. I understand that the water's 30 minutes down the road. You feel me? I got the mountains. I ended up getting a house in the mountains, so I had a pretty good view where I could see everything, the food, the people. You know, everything there is just lit. Athens all together because you get the best of both worlds. You got the city life, you got the beaches, you got the islands, you got the food. The people are cool. You know, it's just it's a life, man. The weather never get too cold. You know, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's one of them islands that, you know, all the celebrities and stuff go visit during the summertime, you know, when it's peak season. You know, yeah. Greece is to be able to call that home for 7 years with the family. You know, my son was born there. You know, I was able to establish some memories there. You know, won a few championships. It was cool. It was cool.
So like you said, you established yourself as a winner in Greece, you know, won 5 Greek league titles. You know, talk about that, you know, winning your first title. And also I want you to talk about the relationship with you and Nicolaitis. Because, you know, every time I see y'all, he throwing oops and you throwing it down. So talk about that.
You know, it's crazy. One of the most memorable championships was playing Kyle with them. My first year there.
Yeah.
Because they had won the EuroLeague. They won EuroLeague that year. I think that was our second year back-to-back winning that.
Yeah.
We ended up winning the Greek League title that year 3-0. We swept them. They had home court advantage, you know, and that was one of those things where the whole city, and again, I wasn't in tune to how big the rivalry was.
Well, yo, do you remember that game?
I remember that whole series.
Bro, that was the craziest. Like, we gotta set the that series was crazy, bro. Like, I
for real.
shit was crazy. I remember that game specifically because the fans didn't allow us to finish the game. Like for people that don't know, like,
Kyle, y'all really gotta talk. Y'all gotta back it up and say how y'all used to travel to each other's stadiums, and arenas and stuff like that. Like the police escorts, like give them the real.
I was gonna get into that a little bit. Like that was gonna be my next question. We talk about the rivalry, but like to talk about like the game is like our fans was like, listen, like we not gonna allow them to finish the game. So the game was all like y'all was up by like 15. I think we was just starting to make a run coming back. And they rushed the floor, and they was like, "Nah, like they stopped the game."
Man, so like I think we were up, or we had just made a decisive stop in a bucket. And you know, Greek fans, unlike a lot of countries, some countries, you know, the fans understand basketball, and in some countries they just like I call them popcorn eaters, where some good happens, they start clapping. Greek fans understand basketball, and so at that play in the game, it might have been like 2 minutes left in the game, maybe a little bit more. They knew the game was over.
Yeah.
And it was like, they knew we were already up 2-0, and Olympiacos, don't get me wrong, they won the EuroLeague. They was the best team. They was hooping, but I guess it was just a matchup. You know, the way we were matched up, we were a better matchup for them. And so we had that play, timeout call. Boom, we go to timeout. Everybody, it's loud in there. The fans booing and talking crazy. So we in the huddle. We all over the, you know, coach got the little clipboard. He writing the play. We all over the huddle like this. Next thing you know, you know them damn dynamite sticks they be shooting at the game, and they be like, boom, loud. One of them just rolling in the huddle. I'm talking about we are this close to the board, and that just was like, and everybody sees it at the same time. And I mind you, we dispersed. We at half court. It looked like somebody came and turned on the lights, and roaches just got up out of here. Boom. Like 3 seconds, we at half court, and that jump went off. Boom, loud. That jump go off. Like Kyle said, the fans started coming out the stands. They try and rush the floor, and it's a net around the court, so it's not like they can really just get like to the court immediately. So the refs are like, man, go. We like, all right. So man, people that have never been in, you know, Peace and Friendship Stadium, that tunnel long as hell to get to the court. Like it's not like you walk to the side of the court and you off. Like nah, you got to go like a short little distance to get off the court to the locker room area. And when that tunnel that you go through, it stops right in front of the fan section. And so we run into the court, and the tunnel opens up midway, and where it opens up at is right in front of the fan section, man. Them dudes, they drop a fire hydrant down in the tunnel. I'm talking boom, fire hydrant bust. It's like white smoke everywhere. You can't see nothing. We trying to get out there. Security running on the court. We running off the court. We trying to get in the locker room. So everybody get in the locker room. Everybody jersey, hat, white, torn, whatever. You know, they like, all right, yeah, the bomb's going off. Police trying to go in there and shut everything down. Everybody in there out of breath, just making sure everybody okay. Like, is everybody here? We sit in the locker room 15, 20 minutes later. Kyle and Spanulis, Billy, they come in the locker room and they just start dapping us up and they're like, congratulations. And we like, man, what y'all talking about? They're like, man, it's over. Like, the fans ain't gonna leave, so we had to forfeit. And basically, like, they fans was like, we not gonna raise a trophy on their court. That's how big the rivalry is. They like, it's not going down. This game will not finish. And they was hot, man. Them fans, they was trying to get in the locker room. I feel like they was attacking y'all, Kyle. Like, I remember they was going after their cars or something like that in the parking lot. It was out there, like the fans, the rivalry in Greece.
Different. You gotta talk about that. Like, you gotta talk about, like, spend some time on that. Like, because for me, it's a different. I was on Panathinakos for 2 years, and you was on the opposite side with Panathinakos. So you gotta talk about like the rivalry, and you gotta talk about what the rivalry meant to you. And, you know, kind of what it means to you. Because at first, like, when I first got there, I can say from my side, I was like, man, like, I played, but, like, I understand the rivalry, but it didn't really matter that much to me. And then when I got there, it gets to the point now where, like my coach now, he's Panathinakos. So, like, I talk trash to him all day. And it's like, I see him, I'm just like, man, like, I don't like you, bro. Like, because, like, where I say, anytime I see Panathinakos, like, it automatically, it's like, yo, like, I just had that, like, I don't know what it is, bro. It's like when a bull see red. When I see green, it's like it's just ingrained in me now. So I'll talk about it from your side, bro.
I mean, for me, like, okay, I mean, I came up playing rivalries, you know, with the Duke, Maryland whole thing, or, you know, being in San Antonio with Dallas and Houston. You know, you got those matchups where you have, like, rivalries, and being in Fenner, playing against Galatasaray, that rivalry was crazy.
Yeah.
Partizan and Red Star got a crazy rivalry. At the time I was a Partizan, Red Star wasn't as good, so the rivalry wasn't so strong. coming into Panathinakos and Olympiacos, you know, I always heard about it, but I never knew about it. You don't understand it until you're actually in it. Like, it just feels like you're in a lion's den, you know. Like, in both ends, when you're the home team and when you're the away team, like, it's hot in that gym, you know, between the fans. Like he was saying earlier on the way to the games, like, they shut down roads. You got police officers, you know, riot police. They're standing on the side of the roads, like, every 100 feet. Yeah. Just boom, 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 boom. Just so, like, fans can't try no dumb mess on the buses. You got the security buses riding on both sides, so can't nobody know those. You know, it's crazy. It's that serious. The whole city shut down when these games come up. And when, right now, Olympiacos ain't in the Greek league, but when they were, you had the chance to play damn near 10 times a year. Yeah. Especially if you mess around and get caught up in the same EuroLeague group. Yeah. You want another thing. You know, don't catch playoffs in EuroLeague and then playoffs in Greek League and then playoffs in the Cup. Like, you will play at least 10 times a year considering that. You feel me? So that's a lot of games against the same team. That's a highly talented team. You know, you're not playing against a team that's just bummy. Like, you talking about EuroLeague. Talking about EuroLeague Champion. You talking about playing against the best teams in Europe across the board and having to come back in Greek League at the end of EuroLeague season.
And play them again.
And have to play against another EuroLeague team. It's not like just another top-level team in the Greek League. It's a battle. It's a dogfight, man. It's a dogfight. But them games are lit, man. The rivalry, it's so huge. And for me, I got to the point where I used to hate talking about Olympiacos. Because it was like, it got to such a big game. It's like, whatever happened with Olympiacos, that's all that mattered. If Olympiacos won, we would be pissed off. Yeah. If Olympiacos lost, we would be happy as hell. Champion was much more special for me when we beat y'all my first year, Kyle. I won the EuroLeague because we was sick. Like, the organization was sick. They was like, well, first of all, when y'all made it to the fucking Final Four, it was like, how y'all made it there was like, all right. Then y'all end up beating, I think y'all beat Cheska. Then y'all beat Pitt. And it was like, all right. Like, and everybody was like, man, I hope Madrid wins. I hope Madrid wins. And I was like, nah. I want Olympiacos to win. Let them win. And I was like, why would you say that? You're gonna jinx the season and they're gonna win everything and they're gonna do this. I was like, nah. I said, let them win because they win the EuroLeague and then we beat them here. It's better for us. That was my mentality going into it. It was like, nah, if Olympiacos win, they're gonna be like, we the winners and y'all are losers. So everything is petty. If Olympiacos sign 2 players and then they go in the media and start saying like, oh, we signed 2 players, what Panathinakos gonna do? Sign 2 players. They can do that. It's a competition. Who could one up the next? So like it's between the ownerships of the team. You know, it's bigger. It's bigger than basketball. It's not just, you know, it's bigger than sports. It's like it's something between the 2 teams. There's families, I guess, go. Yeah. But like it trickles down to the fans. You know, if you drive down Athens, you drive down that Main Street, Confecia Avenue. You can drive from one side to the other, and on one side you see spray paint green. Once you get to a certain midpoint, you know, in Athens, once you hit that Kolonaki area, you get past Kolonaki, you start heading down, all that spray paint start turning red. Or if you do see any green spray paint, it's X'd out.
It's X'd out with red.
So it's like Crips and Bloods low key. Like it's like that. The fans really be beefing. Like people die over this stuff. Yeah. Like, I remember being in clubs sometimes, and I remember getting rolled up on by some Olympiacos fans. This was one of the dopest moments that I remember. I got rolled up on some Olympiacos fans in the club one night. They was like, "Yeah, we got you one-on-one." Basically, it was like 5 of them, 4 or 5 of them. And I'm like in the club, like, damn, I'm by myself. Like I ain't with nobody that I know from the team. Like. But if it's one of those moments, fuck it, it's one of those moments. I'm gonna have to get with it. Like I'm gonna catch 2 of y'all for sure. You know, that moment where I'm like, all right, by the size of in the middle of the floor, they stand in front of me, like 3 Panathinakos fans come up on the side of me. And they start speaking Greek stuff. Oh my God, this one like that. I'm sitting here looking like, yeah, what's up? What's up, dog? What's up? Plus the fans, they kind of dispersed. They like, all right, so ain't nothing gonna happen right here. So I'm like, all right, so yeah, I know I'm good now. So we're chilling. It was like that. But you know, it's really like that. They beef out here over this. The whole city stops. When Olympiacos and Panathinakos play, everything stops. Yeah. If you lose that game, it's like losing. You lost a family member or something. You know, it's like a funeral.
Yeah, you can't go outside the next day. It's like people looking at you like.
Man, we lost y'all one time, man. We got cussed out so bad. The president was like, man, I got people calling me talking about, I missed my daughter's birthday to watch this game. Birthday to watch this game? Like, you tripping. You might have had to catch the stat line on the phone, bro. They take it serious, bro. These fans out here, it's like they love basketball more than we do. They just can't play it.
Yeah, super passionate.
They want us to play it for them. And that's where it comes from.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. No, Mike kind of hit it on it a little bit, but you played with two of the, you caught Yamadias sort of tail end of his career, but you had a great connection with him even during that time, and then now with Nick. So talk about both of them, as point guards and why they is considered such great point guards, and then talk about your connection relationship with them both.
Man, all right. So, I've been blessed with the opportunity to play with a lot of good guards, throughout my career. Diamantidis being one of them, and Nick Pilates being another one. And coming in, Diamantidis was probably the best point guard going down, in EuroLeague history, for all I know. If you look at his resume, for all the guys that don't know about him, all the people that don't know about him, it's unlimited, the stuff that he's been able to do. And playing on the court with a guy like that makes the game easy, man. It makes the game easy when you play with guys that understand basketball. Everything moves at one time. And when you have a guy who can just sit back and impact the game without having to score, and you got a guy like us who's athletic, it makes it easy, That connection is easy, and those guys like Diamantidis and Nick, they're fearless when it comes to making passes. They want to make the pass. So it's just like, as soon as you make that eye contact, or as soon as you make that read, he's reading the same thing you reading. That's big. We're like, damn, my man playing high. I got to slip to the rim. I hope he does it live. And Diamantidis' mind and Colada's mind, like, slip.
That goddamn slip, man. I hate that slip, man. That goddamn slip, bro. Like,
just like, throw it. Like, nah, just go.
Bro, you called me on that slip so many times. I'm like, and I know it's coming to him. Like, all right, here it comes. Here it comes. Next thing I know, I'm like,
everybody does. My thing is, it's a science, though. It's physics, bro. There's no way you're going to jump off your heels. You backpedaling.
Right.
And if you too high, you got to be low. If you too high, I can get it every time. And the guard got to throw it. If the guard confident enough to just throw it and know I'm going to catch it, there's no way anybody can get to it. And all the times, my man would always be the too high. And I'd be like, even if he's right there, he's not going to jump high as me, jumping towards the basket, with you jumping backwards. Not going to throw it. We're going to get 2 points out of this. That's 2 points every time, once or twice a quarter. And, have guys like that, like Diamantidis and Nick, it makes the game so much easier, man. Those guys got vision like Peyton Manning. Like, it's just like, their reading is crazy. No looks, the way they can just impact the game. Like I said, without scoring is just, that's a lost art, because now the game is developed with just scoring point guards. Everybody want to get 40. Everybody want, the guy bring up the ball, come up the pick and roll, got to shoot it, or got to make the play instead of making the hockey assist, Those guys, they really impact the game a lot, man. They really impact the game a lot. It was great playing with them. The combinations that we were able to put together on the floor. Like I said, it came with just being reads. It came with trusting the fact that, I was athletic enough to catch the passes, and it came with me trusting that he was going to do it. I wasn't going to let the ball go out of bounds. Even if I couldn't dunk it, it was just like, I'm going to come down with it. I'm going to save it. I'm going to save the possession.
Right.
And those guys respect that, Even if I missed a pass, it's like if it hit my hand and I missed it, it's like my bad. Even if it was a bad pass, I'd never be like another bad pass. Just so they could throw it again. Just so they could throw it again. I remember first time I started playing with Diamantidis, I cut back door. We were playing Berlin, I think. And I was doing this, throw it up. And after Diamantidis, he threw it. And after the game, he was like, James, he was like, what the fuck is this? He was like, stop doing this. Like, I see you, just go. He was like, just go. I see it. I'm running the play, and I'm sitting here waiting for you to go, and you sitting here doing this. And I was just like, yo, that's when I was like, okay, I ain't got to say nothing else. I just got to just play my game. He going to find me. He going to find me. He going to find everybody. And that was his thing, was just like, if you play the game, you run, if you find an advantage, he going to find you. Nick going to find you. That's just, they're not scared to make that turnover, but they also trust that you're going to make the play.
All right, so you got to talk about, last season playing under Coach Rick Pitino, him coming over from the collegiate ranks. So how was that? How did he adjust, coaching pros and being in Greece?
I think it was a new road for everybody, because it's not common that American coaches come to Europe and be the head coach of a huge team, huge organization for one. Two, most of the domestic players, you know, there's that language barrier, it's that culture barrier, it's that thing, you know. And so you have the foreigners that are on your team that struggle with that when you deal with coaches that are from the domestic area or from a foreign country where you don't understand it. So bringing Rick Pitino in at the time that he came, you know, we were in a bad position. I think we were 13th or 14th position. Like, we was way out of the playoffs. We was playing so bad, like the games we were losing. And I don't even understand why we were losing the way we were losing, because we had a good team.
Yeah,
you know,
talent.
The coach at the time, Xavi Pascual, who was the coach of Barcelona for a lot of years, he was a great coach. You know, he won a couple titles for us in the Greek League title, you know. So I didn't understand why we were playing as bad as we were. But, you know, Rick came in and he just kind of changed the philosophy of the way we were thinking that year. I don't know what it was, but just how he came in, the American players vibed with it, because it was just that you had that vibe in the locker room. You had somebody that could really talk to you. You can understand exactly what they're saying and what they want. You know, that was huge for us. And then, for the Greek players, they were more Americanized than they were just like don't speak English and stuff like that. So, I mean, they benefited from it. But you also had somebody who had experience as a coach. The experience as an NBA coach. His experience as a college coach. He's a Hall of Fame. So he was reading everything, and he was huge on numbers. His thing was statistics. You know, he looked at the stat sheet. He could dissect the whole stat sheet as to why somebody lost games. And, you know, his biggest thing was being aggressive on defense. A lot of people know about deflections and getting hands and trying to get steals and stuff like that. You know, playing the passing lanes. He wasn't a big offensive X's and O's type coach. He expected the players just go out there and play hard, hoop, go get a basket. You know, your bigs need to get position. Everything had to be fundamentally sound. Set good screens, we're going to get good shots. He was like, you know, our percentage of 3 points are so low because we take bad shots. It's not that we got bad 3-point shooters. He was like, even in the NBA, if Steph Curry and Ray Allen, those guys are taking contested threes, they're not going to make 50% of their threes. They're probably going to make maybe in the high 30s, but that's still a low percentage for shooters like that. So, you know, we got to stop taking contested shots. We got to start moving the ball more to a point where we're getting better shots for our shooters. So that was one. Getting our bigs touches, because we weren't getting our big touches before. It was more a guard-oriented game. So in transition, we were looking for early touches for our bigs. So that kind of helped the inside-out offense for us. You know, that changed how we were playing as a team. And we started to build on that. And I think we needed to run off like 8 wins, I think, to even get to the playoffs in the last part of the season. And we ended up running off 7. We ran off 7 and lost the last game to Madrid at home at a buzzer beater from Rudy Fernandez at like half court, something crazy. Feel me? And that being said, like not being in a playoff position to being in a playoff position against 2 teams that we possibly could beat, like we had a chance. We played, you know, no offense, we played Cheska that year. We beat them at our place, and then we won in one at their place during that win streak. You know, off the glass was a crazy shot, but we felt like we had a good matchup with Cheska. Madrid, not so much. But at the same time, you know, we competed in that game, even though we lost at the buzzer. We knew we could compete with it. When, I don't know, but we knew we could compete with it. So that's what we ended up matching with in the playoffs. Had we won that game, we ended up matching with Cheska. Who knows? Maybe we beat Cheska in the playoffs, and Cheska ended up winning that year. They ended up winning the finals that year. I don't know how it would play out, but you just never know. And so Rick was able to come in and turn it around within like 4 weeks. He turned that whole thing around within like 4 weeks. 4 or 5 weeks, we just had a whole different team mentality. And it was just like win, win, win. Once we started winning, it was like, all right, how many can we win in a row? And it was like boom, 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 boom. And then you understood why he was a Hall of Fame coach. You know, he had hella stories. He got hella experience. He understands what he's looking for. And he knows how to get the best out of his players. You know, that's just something that, you know, that can't be taught. That's just something you got or you don't got. You know how to motivate people. You know, you could be a coach. You know how to talk to people, you could be a coach. You got to be able to motivate people.
I feel like that Cheska game was the turning point for y'all, because I was actually at that game when y'all beat Cheska at Opa. And
that was his
first game. I felt like
he came
there.
In, you know, he was on some, like, for him it was a new experience because he had never coached a year before. But again, he coached at Louisville, he coached at Kentucky, he coached at Boston Celtics. You know, so he been in some crazy arenas with some wild fans. Right. So we played Cheska. His first game as a head coach in Europe, and he's in Athens, and he see a walker like this. So he felt like he back in Rupperino, you know. He in Showtime. He really feeling this. I think at one point he had HBO come out and do like a special.
Yeah, HBO come out and do a special on one of the games, bro. So I'm sitting here like, yo, this is for Pitino.
It's real.
Like, real. And I mean, like, he came in and so he really bought into it. The fans accepted him and loved him. And I mean, he really brought the tradition of what Panathinakos basketball was like. He brought it back. He brought that in that short spurt. He brought belief back. It was crazy. And you understood in that moment what it's like to be why he's a Hall of Fame coach. You know, and I see the difference in all the coaches I've been coached by. You know, the difference in coaches like Gary Williams and Greg Popovich and Rick Pitino, as opposed to some of these other coaches I've been coached by that just aren't on the same level. It's a difference.
Yeah. Now, talk about your departure. Obviously, you left Panathinakos. So talk about, you know, that, and then talk about, you know, your decision to, you know, go to Red Star. And then was it, you know, after 7 seasons being with one team and wearing one uniform, was it different that first time, you know, you put that Red Star uniform on? Did it kind of feel, you know, a little bit strange to you?
Yeah, it did. I mean, it felt different because, I mean, you just going into a whole new scenario.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, 7 years in Greece, I had the same thing. You know, I didn't have to take nothing home at the end of the season. I would leave my stuff at the crib. Just like, yeah, I'll be here for a couple weeks and I'll be back. You got to pack everything up and find, you know, figure yourself out again. You know, you got to try to get accepted by the team. You got to try, you know, you start over from square one and try to insert yourself as a, you know, player that can help the team win. And so it was a different vibe, you know, not going back to Greece this year. I didn't expect it, but I mean, everything got its end, you know. Everything comes, you know, has its time. I feel like I had my moments at Powell, and I think that, you know, that kind of just ran its course. Like maybe it was just time for me to make my move, and go on. So Red Star was a choice. I had a choice to go to a few other teams. I had a couple of options. I think it was Valencia, maybe Zenit, and I think it was, maybe Milan. I'm not sure. But I had some teams that had offers, and I had choices that I could make. And then Red Star came in, and so my thing was, you know, playing 7 years at Powell and organized basketball on a team that's, you know, solely about winning championships, not even losing games. It's championships. You know, losing one like the end of the world. Like they want to win championships. So now I get a chance to decide, you know, what's my next move in my career. I've been 7 years in this role. I've been 7 years in this thing where it was just that important, that much stress. I wanted to go to a situation where I could just have fun playing basketball. You know, get back to being me. You know, I came in on Powell. What got me signed and stayed there was the energy that I brought. You know, the level of play and the competitiveness that I had, and you know, going on throughout the years, I had to stick into a role of eventually being that glue guy, being a captain, being the guy that holds everybody together, not being that guy. So when I had the chance to sign with Red Star, I'm like, they got a good fan base. You know, it's a smaller level team. We're not the aspiration to win a EuroLeague title, so that means that, you know, we're competing in the EuroLeague, so I get a chance to play on a high level still. So with that being said, you know, I get a chance to get honest. This year I get a chance to have fun. You know, not really be like, oh, we lost the game, well, damn, no big deal. We're good. You know, that type of mentality. Not that I don't want to win, but it's like, you know, it feels good to just go out there and hoop sometimes. Just go hoop. Yeah. You know, especially after for so long not getting the opportunity to do that. And so that was my whole reason of choosing to go to Red Star this year out of all the teams that I had a choice to go to, you know. Leaving Powell wasn't easy, but, you know, out of all the decisions that I had to make, I mean, this was the decision I thought was best.
All right, so you coming down towards the end of your career. I don't know if you got 3-4 years left, but, you know, what's next for you? You know, what do you plan on doing once the basketball stops dribbling for you?
When basketball stops, I want to get into coaching, honestly. I want to get into coaching, man. Like I said earlier in the interview, Gary Williams was the guy who was still, you know, wanted to be a student of the game and understanding basketball and learning basketball. You know, and throughout the years after him, watching video and being coached by so many different coaches, you know, so many different levels, I just been able to chance to see so many different kinds of philosophies. You know, I've been with different players. I've been on teams where, you know, I never started the season and finished the season with the same player, the same coach. You know, so I done seen almost everything. I can never say you saw everything, but I've seen almost everything. And I just have an understanding of what it takes to win. I've seen it. You know, I've been a part of it, and I get it. And so that's just something I want to be able to do as a player. I want to win at the highest level. Unfortunately, I ain't been as lucky as Kyle to be able to hold up the EuroLeague trophy. But, you know, I've been able to hold up some titles. I've been able to win a lot of championships. I understand what it takes to win. And
I want to be able to pass that on. You know, I feel like that's one thing that we can do with our wisdom as players and as adults, you know, to the younger generation is to be able to give back what we learned, the knowledge that we got through our careers and through our life, what we can get on to the next generation that's coming through. And I feel like I can do that through coaching. You know, I'm in basketball. That's one thing I really want to do. I want to do it at the highest level. I want to win at the highest level.
That's cool. You talk about the younger generation. So, you know, you had to give advice to the, you know, younger generation, young hoopers out there. What's a few things you would say? You know,
I would say follow your dream. Everybody got a different road.
Right.
You know, my path, I didn't know what my road was. I was just kind of going along as the road was being built, you know, but understanding that, you know, I wanted to get to the NBA. I didn't know how. You know, NBA didn't really turn out as like I thought it would, but my career still ended up turning out being really good. You know, I established myself, you know, playing basketball, through basketball, staying motivated, still continuing to live my dream. You know, just stay focused on that. No matter what anybody says, just understand that you got a road that you got to travel. Nobody else is going to go down that road with you. And everybody's road is different. You know, you see guys like me and Kyle came up same time. We worked out.
Yeah.
Prepared for the city. And you see the road that Kyle went, you see the road that I went, and, you know, when we meet at today, and you see Kyle achieve so much and, you know, not reaching where he thought he was going to reach was the NBA at the time, you know, he's better than what he was going to be if he probably would have did that for all I know. You feel me? Look at the situation I'm in. I'm better off more, so who knows what I would have been like if I went to the league. I probably was ratchet as hell. I just don't know. You know, it's just like, you know, the world that we travel for a reason. You know, you live these experiences, you know, enjoy these experiences. You know, one thing my agent told me was, you know, we're all dealt a card, you know, a card hand. You know, when you're about to play cards, you're dealt a hand. No matter what those cards are, you got to play it. You never know how it's going to turn out. You never know how it's going to turn out, but you got to play that hand that you dealt. And I remember when he told me that, and it was when I was about to go to Italy. When I was about to go to Biella, and Greg Popovich told me to go to Italy, and I was just like, nah, this wasn't how it's supposed to be. And he was just like, man, calm down. Bill Duffy was just trying to wrap me up. And he was just like, man, we all dealt a deck hand. You know, we dealt cards, man. And we may not like them when we first get them. He's like, but at the end, they might be all the cards that we needed, for all we know. Right. He's like, you never know. Everything don't look good in the beginning, but, you know, you got to travel the world. You got to travel. At the end of the day, you're going to be on the top of the game. You're going to let your game and continue to put the work in. Don't think that it's just going to, you know, once you become a professional basketball player, once you go to college, that your work is done. Like, nah, it's more work. It's more work once you get there. Once you get into, you know, the rhythm of playing basketball on a professional level, because it's always the next contract. But you want to just play 1 year, or you just want to say I did it? Like, nah, it's always the next contract. It's always the next championship. You know, Kyle, man, he got one. He won enough. You know, he had to get more. And so that's got to be the motivation that any young cats coming up, like, it's other guys out here trying to eat. And you go run into cats like me and Kyle who try to eat too. And so you're going to be willing to work. You're going to be willing to put yourself through all the stuff you got to go through. Living in Europe ain't easy. You got to deal with a lot of stuff off the court too as well. You know, so it's stuff that you got to be able to manage, stuff that you got to be able to think about and put yourself in a position to be open to everything that comes your way. But understand that that's your road that you got to travel. Put yourself through that situation and make the best of it. Accept it. Don't fight it. Make the best of it. And, you know, better things will happen. Once you accept your situation, you know, the sky's the limit for what can happen. So,
oh, man, I just want to say I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you, you know, taking the time, you know, stepping in and talking with us. And I before we go, man, I got to say I definitely appreciate you, too, because, like you said, we came up in this together, man. And it's like to see somebody that you really was in the grind with, in the mud with, like from the beginning, and to see, like, you know, that you see how your career's path and, you know, how our careers have kind of gone similar. I just want to say I appreciate you, man. And like, strictly, like, you've always kind of been like the benchmark. Like, you know, I've been seeing I watch your games, I watch what you do. I was like, man, yo, JG did this, man. I gotta go out, I gotta do this. Or Panathinakos doing this, I gotta go out and do this. Or even some of the moves you make, like you make a dunk, and I'm like, yo, he's 33, he's still doing this. I was like, bro, I gotta get my yoga. I gotta do something, bro. I gotta keep it going. Or even I remember tell a story. I remember last summer. You don't really throw like a lot of workout pics and stuff like that. I'm like, you working out, but you threw a pickup on the gram, and you was like in the gym, and you was like sweating, And I was like, yo, JG working? I was like, yo, I gotta go to the gym right now, bro. I was like, yo, I gotta get to it, bro. I was like, I can't be sitting here. I was like, my guy working. So
it's
I was
really
that's where, bro.
That's where respect comes from, man. And that was one of the motivations behind us when we beat y'all in the first championship. I think I won the EuroLeague we was in a video session one time, dog, and our coach was like, Kyle Hines is the best ball handling big man in Europe. And we was in video. Me and Steph was sitting in video like, what did he just say? He said, Kyle Hines the best big man. Because, I mean, Kyle, you can get the ball, open up the break. Let's keep it real. Ain't too many bigs in Europe that's doing that. You pushing the break the whole way. You finishing, you done dunked a few people that I know. You know, you definitely, like, you as a big, at your position that you play, you could do that. And so, but we took that personal. Because it's like, man, nah, they ain't the best big. We done matched up. We done had our games. You know, they done won us a couple times. Like, we matched up and we done had our battles so much that for somebody to say that this is the best big at something in the game, that's insulting to us.
Exactly.
We got to get out there and we got to work. Now it's attack mode. And like I said, off the court, look at us. We cool, man. We can do it. You know, but on the court, like, it was head up. We was on attack mode.
All right, though, bro. We got that. We still got that old school mentality. Like me, like even like off the court, like we cool, but like on the court, even like when it comes like just shaking hands on the court, like me and JG, we don't even shake hands. Like we don't even talk. Like we be like laser focused. And, like it be crazy, bro.
Like you talking about your homie. This your homie. Act like he not even there. Like no, we talk about it later, bro. Like we grinding that ball out there, me and Kyle, we going head up to die for that ball. One of us with it. It's like that. One of us got to come up with it. And we know this all for the good of the game. We ain't never did nothing dirty. We know it's all clean, it's all love. But at the end of the day, we competitors. That's what we do. It's respect. I respect the grind that you do. I respect how hard you play. That's our relationship, bro. That's our relationship. I wouldn't respect you. I wouldn't even do this podcast if you weren't that type of player, bro.
I appreciate it, bro.
We wouldn't have this conversation.
Same. I wouldn't even ask you if I don't respect you. You already know what it is, bro. So. All right, bro. I appreciate you. I'm gonna let you go. I know we've been on here for a minute. You know, tell family, tell everybody. You know what I mean? I know our wife, so you talk all the time. So tell them tell everybody I still low. And I mean, hopefully we link up soon. Like I said, I gotta get that mumbo sauce. You know what I mean? You gotta take me to the authentic spot.
I got you. I'm gonna put y'all on. We're gonna link up for sure. All right.
All right, bro.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Take it easy. Y'all take care. Stay safe.
All right, you
too.